Mike. Check. Mike, check. Good morning. Happy Thursday, everybody. Good to see you wherever you are, however you may be listening. Thanks for making us part of your day. This counts as early, right? What are we at, 9:32? This counts as early for me, I believe. I think that's how that works. On time is early. Thank you. I appreciate that. Alley-oops. This counts as early. Oh, I was only late because Jen was a little late getting started this morning. So
you're so full of it.
Good morning.
So full of it.
Good morning.
Liar, your pants on fire.
Do you want to share the news?
What, that you have a hot date next week?
Don't try and turn this shit on me. Don't try and turn this shit.
That's what it is, right?
Yeah, sure. They're very.
That's what you told me. You're not going to be here.
They're very large married men. Yeah, I do. Yeah, that is important probably to bring up. Next week, I won't be here on Thursday or Friday, and I'm not sure on Wednesday. I got to check the schedule.
Because you have a hot date?
Because I have a hot date. It's a long date. It's like a 4-day date.
So, are you busting out the Kama Sutra or anything like that to prepare for your date?
No, we use the Bible. It's interesting.
Right.
There's a lot of kinky shit in there. So we just use that.
True.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. No. Next Thursday, next Friday, won't be here. Possibly Wednesday. I just got to figure out the schedule. If we do have a show on Wednesday, I likely will start it a half hour early and end it a little bit early as well. So we'll see. I'm gonna get tied to a chair. No, I don't have a date. But I was talking about you. If you wanted to announce your relationship,
what about me?
Your new relationship.
Which relationship is that?
Atta girl.
Which one is that?
One, she says. Atta girl.
There's so many.
How many do you got?
75.
How many? Honestly, right now, how many are you juggling?
None.
All right. That's fine.
Should I start dating again? Should I bring Tinder out of retirement?
I think so.
Do a special for the show.
Did you know I don't know if I've told you this. I'm banned from Tinder.
No. I mean, actually, this doesn't surprise me. So you may have told me that.
I don't actually know how I'm banned from Tinder. I think I only had it for maybe a month. And then I tried to log back in. I don't know if it got hacked or something, but I tried to log in and it's you are banned from Tinder. I was like, oh, I don't think I ever met anybody. I do know I had one weird interaction on Tinder, and that was when I deleted it and I was like, I'm just maybe not ready to date. I'd matched with somebody and they were like, you should come over. Let's let's have a drink. And I was like, I cannot drive currently. I'm not capable of driving. And she's like, well, I'm not either because I'm already a little drunk. I was like, well, I'm a little high. And she was like, that's disgusting. I would never date somebody who smokes weed. Goodbye. And I was like, what the? How are you drunk? And then you judged me for being high. So, and then I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't do this. I don't understand people. So.
Yeah. It doesn't the app have if you're 420 friendly?
I don't remember.
I think it does. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's regional. I don't know. It's been a while since I've been on any of those apps.
Let's refresh it, Jen. You could have we could have a Jen Tinder segment.
Whole segment. I like the trash. I could come in with the cheesy things that are sent to me.
Do you get cheesy things?
Probably. I don't know. From what I remember, some of the conversations were not fantastic. They're the
worst. They're the worst. I've had a rough go.
Maybe,
really rough go.
Maybe we'll see. I think there is Reggie in Discord. I'm pretty sure she told she got banned from Tinder.
Well, that makes sense because wasn't she posting her conversations on social media?
So I don't remember the exact details of it, but yeah, entertaining. But So Johnny sent a Venmo saying, "Shitballs, listening from the hospital around 8 of chemo. Happy Thursday."
Hey, 8 of 8. We're done after this one. And then Blue Chew said, "What did Jen and RTP and an unfinished porch have in common?" Oh Jesus, you know, Jen, don't look at it.
I don't know. Is it finished? Is it finished?
Don't. Railings are in their near future.
Not with each other. That's disgusting. I will ban you.
It's true. I would help you build. I would help you build a railing. It would be terrible.
Can you build things? Are you handy?
Yeah, a little bit. Like I don't like to do. I hate it. I hate like handyman work. It depends. I can do some things. I tried to replace a lock on a sliding glass door, like 2 months ago, and it was a nightmare. They're the ones that like. How did the lock work? Like it like goes up to this little. There's like a wire that runs up to this little mechanism up top, and you have to wrap it around. But every time I tried to tighten it, it would pop off on the bottom or it would pop off on the top. And then I eventually gave up. And then my neighbor came over and fixed it in like 3 minutes. And I was like, shit, that's not good. I did it forever. But I'll put stuff together. I can change my oil if I need to, which I don't know how. I don't think I would never. I don't do that. It's a nightmare. I don't know, not super handy.
Yeah, my husband was the general contractor, so my bar for handiness is pretty high. But,
oh, well, there we go.
But he's gone, so that doesn't count anymore.
It's not that handy anymore.
He's not that handy anymore. So,
cool.
my Spawn's on spring break, and she just peeked in.
Hey, Spawn.
I don't know if you can.
Why does she have your joy in her voice? Hey, that's an exact same.
She just woke up not too long ago, so she's.
That's pretty early for spring break. 9:40.
She's brushing her teeth with an electric toothbrush, but it's not on. She refuses to turn the toothbrush on, and it bothers me.
She uses an electric toothbrush without turning it on?
She has an electric toothbrush, and she doesn't turn it on.
That's weird.
She just said she does it to make me mad.
All right, now I love it.
Well, anyways.
All right, do your thing.
Can get going. All right, so we're getting going. This is our show. This is our job. We do this each day, Monday through Friday, from 9:30 to 1 Pacific time. We're still banned on TikTok. We should be back on Monday. So we're here for now. So we've got the gift goal, as you guys know. Venmo, Cash App, PayPal, Super Chats, all go towards knocking out that gift goal. If you're not already a subscriber, please become one. And if you become a paid member, you can join us for members-only events. On Twitch, you can use your Amazon Prime sub for a free subscription. And then we have a variety of memberships on YouTube. If you guys disagree with RTP, you want to come up and talk to them, you can. You just send me a message on Discord. My Discord username is the same as the Venmo, so Jen with 2 N's, Deb with 2 B's, the number 1. Just send me a message. I can bring you on. Check out the link tree in the bio. We're on most social media platforms. We've got merch. Jay's on Cameo. We upload these episodes to Spotify. What are you giggling at?
I'm just laughing at the messages. I think some of them are funny. Like Amy said, she doesn't use electric toothbrushes because she feels like she's brushing with an adult toy. There's just some funny comments. I'm sorry. I'll try not to smile.
I try not to read comments while I'm doing the announcements because I get sidetracked and then I won't be able to finish.
Yeah, that's my bad.
So I try not, but I can see you in like my peripheral because I'm looking away and I see you like this. I'm like, what is he laughing at?
Sorry.
Anyways, so yeah, let's knock out that gift goal. And what is brown and rhymes with Snoop?
What's brown and rhymes with Snoop? I know you want me to say poop, so it's got to be. I mean, it's got to be poop, right?
Dr. Dre.
So stupid. Jesus. Poop sounded like the right one. I love Dre. All right, let's get things started. I want to show this video. My mom sent this to me actually the other day, and then I reached out to Lindsay, but I didn't hear back from her. So we're just going to show the video, and I couldn't find her video on YouTube, so I've got
Idaho is trying to
our friend Hawk here what do you call it? Reposting it? Is that what it is on TikTok? But if you don't know, it's let me get her name. I think it's like Social Lindsay. Yeah, on Instagram, the Social Lindsay, and it's Lindsay with a AY. She covers a lot of politics in Idaho. What's happening in Idaho is really fucking sick. And in conservative places all over the country, the obsession again with trans people is alarming. It's discouraging, and it's just fucking weird. Like it's just really, really weird. Duetting. Thank you, Able Assistance. That's what you call it. I don't know if I've duetted anything ever. I don't know if I know how to do that, but anyways, here's Lindsay.
Pass a law where if a student doesn't look gender specific enough or they ask to be called by a nickname, any nickname, and the teacher doesn't immediately notify the family, they can lose their teaching license and be fined up to $100,000. They're trying to frame this as stopping kids from socially transitioning. But like every time that they try to attack trans people, everyone is catching strays with this law. Here's the bill that they want to have become a law. Peep that last paragraph. That's how they're defining social transitioning. And within that definition is adopting a name, pronoun, appearance, or dress that does not correspond with an individual's sex and or a nickname or derivative of their name. How exactly is a teacher or counselor or doctor supposed to decide if a student's appearance is enough like a boy or a girl? And the stakes are high. $100,000 is a lot of...
Especially in Idaho, in a very conservative place. Like I grew up at a school, like you couldn't wear tank tops at the school I went to. We had a very strict dress code. I remember I used to run call centers, and we were forced to merge with another company in Utah, and so I had to take over the call center there in Utah. And we got up there, and like it was like the first day with HR, and the HR guy brought me in. He's like, "Just so you know, this is our dress code. No leggings." I was like, "No leggings? What do you mean no leggings?" He's like, "Yeah, no leggings. They're too form fitting." It's like these are adults, and they don't get paid that well. We can't ban leggings. He's like, it's just distracting. It's like, oh Jesus. So we didn't ever ban the leggings, but this is Idaho. How do you determine what is or isn't appropriate? What's for boys? What's for girls? Like, do girls have to wear pink? Boys wear blue?
Money. I'm so sorry, Sarah. Mr. Johnson didn't think you looked enough like a girl today, so he called your parents. Hope that doesn't make you feel insecure for the foreseeable future. If a girl wears her boyfriend's sweatshirt to school, are her parents going to get a call because that's boys' clothing? That's not allowed. What if a boy wears a necklace, or a girl wears a jersey of her favorite male athlete, or a boy wears a jersey of his favorite female athlete? What if a boy puts his long hair in a ponytail, or a girl cuts her hair really short, or shaves her head? They are going to have to contact that child's
Amy said for Jen's electric toothbrush.
Parents. The point is, they hate trans people so much that they want to make the policing of children's appearances a legal issue.
Can you guys relax on children, conservatives? Can you just knock it off? Why you are way too obsessed with people's genitals. Please stop. We're asking nicely. Please.
Because of how vague this law is, let's say a student says that they're uncomfortable in their body. They don't like how they look. They don't like their hair. They don't like their appearance. The teacher or counselor or doctor would be legally required to stop that conversation and immediately tell their parents because of the liability involved, even if they know that that puts that child at risk. Now, I can't tell the future, but this bill that is aimed at outing and harming trans kids, but will...
Is that Rulon Gardner? I think that's Rulon Gardner. He was that wrestler, Greco-Roman, I think it was, wrestler. Then he wound up losing a toe. Is that Rulon Gardner?
Ultimately remove needed support and help for all kids going through normal teenage transitions will lead to a spike in this. And our rates in Idaho are already not good. Good thing Idaho kids can call into this hotline if they need help and support. Oh, wait, no, they would have to hang up on them because...
Yeah, they changed the law for their hotline that if people are in a crisis, but it's because they are transgender, that they cannot be helped. They just have to report it. Thank you, Purdy Kiki, for the gifted subs. Thank you very much. That was a lot of gifted subs.
Because of laws that Republicans passed. It's almost like Republicans don't care how many people they hurt, how many children they hurt, or who end it all, as long as they feel like they can attack trans people. Idaho is trying to pass a law.
Please stop. I don't know if MAGA has gotten here yet, but please stop. Stop being weird. We love subs. Thank you, Purdy Kiki. Yeah, good point, Wandering Mind. Check on your trans friends. They've been relentlessly attacked by this administration. And even when they're not under attack by the administration, they're under attack by society. Stop being weird, please. For like 1 second. Call on God, everyone who has needs like this. What's his number? What is God's number? I'm not sure. Do we have a number for God? 511? Yeah, then they signed that bathroom bill yesterday, which was the bathroom bill's sick in Idaho. It's something like if you use a bathroom that's not assigned to your gender like twice in 5 years, it's a misdemeanor. There's something else that you do that makes it a felony. Stop it. Just stop it. 1-800-JESUS. That's what it is. 666. Thank you. Yeah, there you go, Maggie. Be like Jesus and stop casting stones. All right. I want to talk about some economic stuff before we get into Trump.
In January of this year,
as per usual, when More Perfect Union puts out a video, we cover it. This was interesting. I actually changed my opinion on some of these things today when it comes to taxing billionaires and how we should do it. But in California, obviously, there's a billionaire tax, and the billionaires are spending more money to fight this tax than they would actually pay in tax, which is bizarre. But you look at California, look at how expensive it is to live in California, and California has massive infrastructure, and they also don't want their state to fall apart. And because billionaires and rich folks don't pay their fair share, these taxes get passed down to middle-class people. And middle-class people then get upset. And conservatives are like, look, I hate living in California. My taxes are so high. Your taxes are very high because they don't tax people appropriately. For decades, California has been incentivizing corporations to come there and giving them all sorts of tax breaks. That's what built Silicon Valley. That's largely what built Hollywood in Los Angeles. And it's hard to undo that. It's hard to convince the rich folks to pay more in taxes, and even getting the messaging across to the entire population, to middle-class folks who are like, California just wants to tax me to death. No, it's really expensive to live in California because there's a lot of people, and it requires a lot of infrastructure, so it's going to be expensive.
Google co-founder Sergey Brin made his first major political donation. After he wrote a $20 million check to start a new super PAC, more million-dollar checks started flowing in from other Silicon Valley heavyweights. So what was it about this moment that moved Brin to get involved in politics for the first time? Why now?
Brianna said Christians put the sus in Jesus, and they want us to believe. That's fair. Don't be sus. If you want to convert us, don't be sus. Asta Sophia said, well, I can pick you up for a date. I'll leave this one here. Why did the mushroom get invited to all the best parties? He was a fun guy. Thank you.
Mr. Brin, you are worth $245 billion. Start paying your fair share of taxes.
A proposed tax on billionaires living in California is gaining national attention.
We missed that from Johnny. Sorry. A priest walked into a bar, then a mechanic walked in the same bar. Finally, a lawyer walked into the same bar. They all said, ouch, and then the lawyer tried suing them for not warning them. It's not really a joke, probably just a true story.
I mean, how many yachts do you need? They just keep getting wealthier and wealthier, and us on the bottom are just getting stuck with more debt.
When Sergey Brin wrote that $20 million check, he was responding to an unprecedented political moment.
Yeah, Austin, that's for sure what it is. Things are expensive because they waste it on homeless drug addicts. Yeah, for sure that's what it is. What a brain dead fucking take. Just have a good take once, Austin. We're waiting for you. You've been here obsessed for a week now, commenting on videos for a week now. Make one good point today. That's our challenge for you.
We will deliver universal child care for the many by taxing the wealthiest few.
At a moment of skyrocketing costs for healthcare, utilities, and groceries, a group of labor unions in California are making a bet with huge stakes.
The 214 or 15 billionaires in California collectively have $2.2 trillion worth of wealth, which is just an unimaginable amount of money. What we've proposed is a one-time 5% tax on their worldwide assets that will produce $100 billion.
So we went to California to find out, is a wealth tax key to solving the state's problems? Or is it the first domino that could take down the fourth largest economy in the world?
you would see a significant reduction.
I don't know of a single economy that has ever been taken down by forcing the richest people to pay the right amount of taxes, like what they're actually supposed to pay in taxes. That's never happened ever. It's pretty crazy to be able to fearmonger something that has never happened. What we do know is that by not taxing the wealthy the appropriate amount, you get massive wealth inequality, and that always fucks up your economy.
In taxes, because taxpayers will move.
What can the fight over California's wealth tax tell us about the problems our country faces and how to solve them? At first glance, an elementary school outside of Boston might seem like a strange place to go to better understand a wealth tax in California. But once you understand what's going on here, it becomes more clear.
8 years ago, school breakfast was stigmatized. Our breakfast program, we served maybe 2% of students.
But on this day in Watertown...
Imagine being part of a political party that sees this video of children getting a healthy school breakfast and being upset about that. Why are we wasting money on that? Can we just bomb some more Muslims, please?
Massachusetts, just outside Boston. Every kid gets free breakfast. Same with lunch, and same at every public school across the state.
Here you go, Caitlin. Hi, Francesca. Hi, good, how are you?
That's because back in 2022, the state's voters approved a ballot initiative.
The wealthy are leaving California? Oh, they are? I didn't know. You mean a handful of billionaires? They're moving to your shitty states so they don't have to pay taxes, and then you're bragging about it? Hey, these guys get to come in here and use all of our stuff for free and not help out at all. Winning.
Called the Fair Share Amendment.
The proposal would require people who make over $1 million to pay 4% more in state income tax.
Across the state, 2 free meals a day at school are saving millions of families money on groceries. Better trains and buses and tuition-free community college are lowering their transportation and education bills. All of it paid for with the millionaire's tax.
Every year when Massachusetts reaffirms that we're having free breakfast and free lunch, I breathe a sigh of relief.
Everybody in Massachusetts who was a lobbyist and a spokesperson for the wealthy, they said, oh, we're going to see an exodus, a mass exodus of the wealthy.
And these guys are going to say, okay, I'm going to go.
I don't know if you've been to San Francisco. I don't know if you've been to Los Angeles. I don't know if you've been to Southern California. You know what's not as cool as Southern California? Orlando. Palm Beach. You can live in California, you can live by the beach. The weather is nice, and it's not 3 trillion degrees with 1,000% humidity, and you don't have crocodiles in your neighborhood ponds. It's not all about money. I don't know why people look at it that way. But people pay more money to live in nicer places. Nobody is going to leave. Even these billionaires that are leaving to Florida, they still have a place in California, and they spend most of their time in California. They just found a loophole where they can buy a house in Florida and avoid California's income tax. But they just fly back and forth. They don't want to live in Florida. They're not down there in Florida all the time. Go follow any of their social media. Where are they? They're in LA. They're in New York. They're in Chicago. They're in San Francisco. They're not hanging out in Orlando.
Go to Florida instead of staying in Massachusetts.
And it's a very legit concern.
So Massachusetts doesn't want to position itself in a way that our tax code is an impediment to economic growth.
Well, guess what?
This guy said, how do people making $700 an hour convince people making $20 an hour that people making $7 an hour are the cause of their problems? That's a great question. I don't know how we did. I don't know. It was amazing.
There was no mass exodus.
In fact, the number of millionaires in Massachusetts actually grew close to 40% in the 2 years after the amendment passed. Now, this same argument is being recycled.
Yeah, Sinus wants us to know that if you walk through LA, you'll see that everybody's living on the streets. There's no nice houses in LA or San Francisco. I'm sorry. I go to LA and San Francisco all the time. I haven't been to San Francisco for a while, actually, maybe like a year. But I go to LA all the time. It's very nice. There are parts of LA where there are massive unhoused populations. I live in Phoenix. There are places with massive unhoused populations. I live in a very nice neighborhood. I can walk 200 yards, and I regularly do walk 200 yards and share some of the Lord's lettuce with some of my unhoused friends. Stop being afraid of people that are unhoused. Why do you think they're in California? Cost of living, right? Wealth inequality, that drives up the unhoused population. We keep Republicans really dumb in this country. Your politicians just keep you dumb. There is a formula. If you want to figure out if a place that you're living is going to experience a crisis of unhoused people, all you need to do is look at the amount of money that people are spending on their home, how much it costs them to live in their home. And it's about like once it gets above 30, I think it's 33 or 34%. Once it gets above that number, you start to see the number of people who are unhoused increase. So you look at LA and you have the average person, they can't afford to live there. Last time I was in San Diego, I was talking to my bartender who had two bartending jobs, worked 60 hours a week. Their husband had a full-time job. They could barely afford a 2-bedroom, 1-bath apartment, and they were living paycheck to paycheck. Why? Wealth inequality. What happens when you are bidding on a condo? And you're somebody that can afford a condo, for example, and you're going to spend $300,000 on that condo. But somebody who wants to buy that condo as a rental property and has more money than you bids $310,000. You lose, and now the price of the next condo up for sale is calculated against that $310,000. So then you have a buyer come in at $310,000 and a private equity coming in at $320,000, and they just slowly drive the price up to the point where it's unaffordable. And so if you look, there's not a single city where there is a large unhoused population where you won't see a direct correlation between the rise of the unhoused population and the amount, the percentage of your income that it takes to live in that city. Austin, Texas, Salt Lake City, Utah, Boise, Idaho, Seattle, Washington, Portland, Oregon, San Francisco, California, Los Angeles, San Diego, all of these places. That's what happened. In fact, More Perfect Union did an amazing video you should go watch about Montana, deep blue Montana with all their liberal policies. And you go up into like Bozeman and you'll see that there's tons of people living in tents and in trailers, and they work full-time jobs. How did that happen? Bozeman decided to give a bunch of tax incentives for people to move into Bozeman and turn it into a resort city. But because there's limited amounts of housing, what happened is the wealthy people that moved in bought up all the houses. And then the people that historically had been able to afford houses no longer could afford houses, so they moved into apartments. And then that made the price of apartments go up. And so the people that were living in apartments suddenly didn't have the option to live in apartments. It was too expensive. There's no government subsidized houses. There's no apartments. There's no rent controlled apartments. And so now you have the very people that are keeping Bozeman alive, that are working at the golf courses and at the ski resorts and at the hotels and in the restaurants, and they literally can't afford to live in Bozeman, so they're living in trailers. You can go watch it. It is really not that hard to figure out if you just set aside politics, look at a city and figure out, like, why did you have a rise in the unhoused population? It's very simple, and it is never that people are too generous with money for poor people. That is never the case. You can never draw that correlation. It's just what Republicans tell you to keep you dumb and not blaming the rich people who are funding them.
California.
It's the California gold rush in reverse.
Just talking about it is sending billionaires running.
Some reportedly ready to move their businesses and their money across the country to Florida.
This is an exodus, isn't it?
You're not for a wealth tax in the state of California.
You can't isolate yourself from the 49 others. We're in a competitive environment.
Unlike the massive...
Now, that part I kind of agree with. This is the part where I'm changing my mind a little bit, because what this allows, it seems to be political, and like Florida getting some billionaires there and rich people, it does help them a little bit. It allows them to charge more in property taxes. But if you're in Florida and you've noticed, like, oh, my property taxes keep going up and up and up. Now, my home, why is that? Why do your property taxes go up? Anybody, raise your hand if you're in Florida. And if you live in Florida, can you explain to me why your property taxes went up? Anybody know? 62% of your net income on mortgage right now in Portland? Jesus. It's because it's tied to the value of your house, right? Why did the value of your house go up? Because rich people moved there. Right? So ironically, like Florida bringing in all these wealthy people, that hurts middle-class people as well. So when I say I've changed my mind on this, I do think this needs to be federal. I think that you need to have a wealth tax on a federal level to prevent states from then luring other rich people there and driving up the cost on their own people. I don't think that will ever happen. I think that would be fought in the Supreme Court and it would lose, but I would prefer that.
Massachusetts tax. The California proposal would tax wealth, not income, and it would apply to a much smaller group of people, the 200-odd billionaires in the state. It's also a response to one of the largest wealth transfers in the country's history.
I've been a healthcare worker for 57 years. This is the worst threat that I've ever seen.
When President Trump signed the legislation, the world changed.
Trump's signature on this bill redirected billions of dollars from Medicaid into the pockets of billionaires and corporations. So that money is now sitting in the investment portfolios of billionaires like Mark Zuckerberg and Sergey Brin instead of paying doctors and nurses and care flight pilots. It's not lowering monthly premiums for low-income folks who are dropping out of the pool and making premiums go up for the rest of us.
So I'm a phlebotomist. What brings me here?
That's something we don't talk about enough, but making healthcare unaffordable for people who don't have much money makes the risk pool smaller, which drives up your premiums. So the argument from conservatives is like, well, just be healthy. If you can't afford health insurance, just be healthy. Get a different job. Fine, but if that's your opinion, that's fine. But it's going to drive up the cost for everybody else.
Today it's pretty simple, to prevent a healthcare collapse.
In California, the cuts amount to $100 billion over 5 years.
I look back at what happened at COVID.
It looks like there's an announcement that Pam Bondi is out. Will you find that for me?
This ICU is over capacity.
Mass graves for those who can't afford a funeral.
It would be like seeing something of COVID, but permanent.
The Antelope Valley Medical Center has already had to close its public health clinic in response to this routing of billions from Medicare to billionaires' pockets.
If the ER closes in one town, the next town's ER is going to be overcrowded. Well, it turns out we're all in this together.
So we are in uncharted territory, and that's an unprecedented situation. Nobody has ever had to manage that before.
You can't just manufacture the dollars out of thin air. Ultimately, we are all going to pay. It is higher amounts we spend.
No, it's not official. Okay. I know CNN reported this morning that they were considering getting rid of her. Okay. And then, Lee Zeldin would replace her. Yeah, I've heard that too. I'm not reporting it till it's confirmed.
Doctor's visits, it's higher copays, it's higher insurance costs. It comes out of all of our pockets.
No. Stuff something. I'm not saying it's fine. Yeah, it's fine if you have that opinion. That's all I was saying. Like, you're wrong if you have that opinion. I'm just saying, if you have that opinion, you can have that opinion, but it's not based in fact or data or reality.
One way or another.
So there's this crisis, and the question facing California was what
Good question, Brock. Could you, Brock, change that to Florida? Why are insurance companies not covering California or Florida homeowners? It's a good question. Why are insurance companies not covering homeowners? Because they don't want to. They want to maintain their profits. They can't have down years. They can't have drops in their revenue because they're publicly traded and their loyalty is to the investors. That's why. Insurance shouldn't be a private industry. Insurance is a scam.
What do about it?
If not asking the richest among us to pay, what do we do?
Well, we do. California has the most progressive tax structure in the United States of America.
But there are billionaires who are sitting on equity who don't sell it
We have
and who are paying a lower
billionaires
tax rate.
that are paying those progressive taxes. We have the highest progressive tax rate in the United States of America.
It is true. California has.
Taxes are not a scam. Taxes are the same as you paying your bills. You just don't like taxes. It's not a scam. Taxes are something that you agree to, and taxes are how we pay our bills as a country. That's not a scam.
relatively high personal income taxes. Those are meaningless to billionaires.
The income that you earn at your job, or that I earn by going out in public and begging strangers to talk to me.
We're working on a video about the billionaire tax. Do you guys want to talk about it? Do you want to talk about it? You guys want to talk about it?
No, not really.
Okay. Hey guys.
We can see how much of it comes out every paycheck in the form of state income taxes. We can also definitely see the impact of taxes on gas and other necessities.
I might move to out of state because we have to pay taxes for everything. Gas on it is taxed.
Then why are we $36 trillion in debt? Because conservatives exist. More than 50% of our debt comes from two massive tax cuts, the Bush tax cut and the Trump tax cut. What we do is we have our spending goes up and then conservatives cut our revenue. And so we go massively into debt. But just basically speaking, the reason that we're in debt is because we spend more than we take in. And you can be like, let's cut spending. That's true. You know what you have to do if you can't cut enough spending? You have to raise taxes. But conservatives tell you you can't raise taxes. That's why, because there's too many dumb fucking people here. Yeah, spending never goes down. Great, Brock. Then you have to increase taxes, Brock. You're almost there. We're almost there, Brock. If Republicans never cut spending, but they always cut taxes, isn't that dumb? Isn't it dumb to bring in less money when you don't cut? Hey, Brock, but they don't. So, Brock, you must then be voting for people like Bernie Sanders then, right? Bernie Sanders wants to cut the military budget. No, Brock just says nope. Nope, you can't increase taxes. This is the problem, Brock. This is why we can't have good things in this country, because conservatism is a death cult. You guys all are ideologically driven on taxes. This is math, Brock. If you need 10 apples and you only have 7, what do you need? 3 more apples. What do conservatives do? They throw 2 of the apples in the trash and go, what the fuck? Why don't we have enough apples? Because we didn't have enough in the first place and you threw 2 more in the trash. You needed 10. You had 7. Now you got 5, Brock. No, I can't do this. I can't be pinned into this corner right now. I can't be proven wrong on a stream with basic math. I'm just going to say no. No, you can't raise taxes. This is basic fucking shit, Brock. This is not hard. Stop. Drop your ideology. Drop it. We should cut the military budget. First and foremost, cut the military budget. We'd save a fortune. Increase taxes, cut the military budget. Make it 1/10 of what it was. We're good.
I'm hearing you say it's that the tax burden right now is falling on working people too much.
How can you have a free program, Patrick? What do you mean? Let's talk about this. Too many free programs. Cancel student meals. Great idea. If free lunch, right? If the students are getting lunch at no cost to them, how is that different than the police or the fire department or the police department? The military? Do you pay per use when the police show up? Do you pay per use when the fire department shows up? Do you pay per use when the military shows up? Who wastes more money than anybody? We'll get to that in a minute. The military. It's the most wasteful spending part of our government by far. You know who is? You know what's managed way better than the military? Medicare, Social Security, Medicaid, food programs for children. They all operate much more efficiently than the military. No, but we have to be able to bomb Muslims whenever we want to.
Pretty much, that's what they do it to us.
But billionaires like Mark Zuckerberg, they get paid differently. He famously takes a $1 annual salary from
most food programs. Yeah.
The fire department's not federal government.
Either are most food programs for kids. Those are on a local level or a state level. Try and keep up, sweetheart.
Facebook, but he mostly gets paid in the form of shares of his company's stock. And if he never sells those shares, he never has to pay taxes on them. Same with most other billionaires in California. Despite holding nearly $2 trillion in wealth, The state's billionaires only contribute
how about some cuts, David? Let's cut some money to the Pentagon.
about 2.5% of the state's income tax base. The vast majority of their wealth is sitting in their investment portfolios untaxed. California could raise the top income tax rate to 95% and never touch that money. That is the point of a wealth tax. In California, it would be a one-time 5% tax on an individual's net worth if it's over $1 billion.
Oh no, 5% of $1 billion. What are you gonna do? How will they survive the 5% tax for their wealth over $1 billion? How could we possibly let the billionaires pay 5% if they have $1 billion? Oh no.
And it can be helpful to deal in physical objects here since these fortunes are so huge. This is a super yacht. One of these costs about $500 million. If Mark Zuckerberg were to convert his entire fortune into super yachts, he would have...
That's a great idea. Dog, I appreciate your idea. Let's go. I agree with you. Let's do this. Let's have the states pay a percentage of GDP for the military. Okay, well, some states contribute almost nothing to the GDP, first of all. And second of all, if we had to take a percentage of GDP to fund the military, our military budget would shrink massively. So I like that idea. That's a great idea. Let's make the states individually pay a percentage of their GDP, and then we will have a very small military. How about we force the federal government to operate like the states where they're required to have a balanced budget? We could do that.
444.6 of them. If the wealth tax passes, Zuckerberg would be left with a measly 422
What would he do?
yachts.
What would he do with his only 422 super yachts? How could he live?
In the 4 odd months it took for me to research, report, travel, and produce this video, Mark Zuckerberg's wealth, just sitting in its investment portfolio, has already grown by the amount he would be asked to pay.
That's a good point. Jeremy says, how many times does the news report about massive layoffs at companies, and at the end of the year, those same companies report record profits? Every. Shane says, Brock, you're the entirety of the problem because you don't know how the systems work. Maddie Man says, Dollar Train, thank you.
Percent if they're billionaires. When their wealth is growing 7% a year is almost a rounding error.
But many of these billionaires are still spending millions to try to defeat this tax, and already taking steps to try to get out of it.
Businesses are fleeing California.
And it's going to cause a mass exodus.
This wealth tax is having a huge impact on people fleeing to Florida.
It's a badly drafted effort. It's already had an outsized impact on this state.
Okay, to be clear, we're talking about 6 people.
Quick reminder, let's not have Gavin Newsom be the candidate.
6 billionaires who have told reporters that they either purchased real estate or incorporated LLCs outside of California. Plus, the proposal covers any billionaire who was a resident of California as of January 1st this year. So if they haven't taken steps already, it's too late. Recent polling shows that a majority of Californians favor the tax, but also that they're concerned that they will have to fit the bill if the billionaires flee. And the measure's opponents are spending millions.
Let me just point this out, though, because this is also economics. If you had a mass exodus of wealthy people from California, prices would come down. Affordability would go up. The people that leave now, like if they all went at once, you would see a massive crash in the price of housing if all these wealthy people left California. So I understand people's fear. They're like, "Oh, we don't want to foot the bill." You don't fit the bill in the same way. If your prices go down, then you have more money left over. If the value of your house goes down, you pay less in property taxes.
To try to push this scare tactic to the public. It's an argument that sounds pretty similar to that of the governor, Gavin Newsom, and there might be a reason for that.
Yeah, guys, David wants you to know nobody can afford to live in California. There's just millions. How many people live in California? How many millions? None of them can afford it. Jenna, let me finish this video. Are you coming in about Bondi?
Yeah.
I see it. Yeah, let's finish this video.
And I am surviving in California.
No, you're not.
I am. All day.
Former Google CEO Eric Schmidt, Tony Zhu, CEO of DoorDash.
Austin, that's your last time to talk about homeless people. You've already been debunked on that. You're good with that. Knock that shit off. Stop blaming poor people for our problems. You're looking like a dumb fuck right now. And I'm trying to be nice to you today. Knock it off. There is no amount of our budget that it like poor people do not cause these problems. Stop it. You look so goddamn dumb. You look like such a little cuck for the billionaires. Who was it that said that earlier? It was this guy Fox. And you need to listen to this. How did people making $700 an hour convince people making $20 an hour that people making $7 an hour or no dollars an hour are the problem? Knock it off. It is so stupid. It honestly is the dumbest thing. It's like somebody breaking their ankle and then you're like, yeah, it's because they have a runny nose. Oh yeah, that's what it is. They don't feel good because they have a runny nose. It couldn't be their broken ankle. That's what they're upset about. No, it's totally the nose. That's the real problem. Everybody should stop looking at the broken ankle. Why are we not focused on that booger coming out of their nose? It is so stupid to blame poor people. It's not even like even an opinion. Like there's no math to back you up. It's just hating on poor people to bootlick for rich people while you're on YouTube trolling. What are you doing? Stop that. That's so dumb. Don't punch down. Poor people are not the problem in this country.
Patrick Collison, CEO of Stripe. These billionaires have all contributed the maximum amount to Gavin Newsom's campaigns in previous cycles, as have other California billionaires like Reed Hastings, co-founder of Netflix, who also incidentally cut a $250,000 check to stop Zohran Mamdani from becoming mayor of New York. Taxing the ultra-rich was a huge part of Mamdani's campaign, and California billionaires took notice and started spending to try to stop him. Now, those same billionaires are counting on their years-long investment in Gavin Newsom. And it looks like it's paying off.
What would a compromise look like?
Shane says, I can afford to live here and send super chats. Well done. You must be a billionaire, Shane.
I don't know what there is to compromise.
Altogether, Newsom has received financial support from 50 of the state's billionaires and their spouses. And
Right.
in a state with roughly 200 billionaires, that's not a drop in the bucket.
I just want to also point out to all of you Republicans in the chat right now, you're siding with Gavin Newsom. Just so we're clear. You are now big Gavin Newsom fans. Gavin Newsom, who you guys call a communist. You're all backing up Gavin Newsom right now.
As Newsom positions himself as a 2028 presidential contender, those same billionaires are now funding that effort through a couple of newly formed federal PACs. A sizable portion of Newsom's billionaire backers come from the tech sector, which is an important part of California's economy.
Your home is beautiful.
Thank you.
Do you think that you guys would also too leave California if the billionaire tax passed?
I think that is our big fear. It's sort of the nightmare. We're kind of going through the phases of denial, acceptance, grief, however you call it.
These guys are betting that doom and gloom projections about billionaire founders being forced to sell their super voting shares and potentially losing control of their companies will be enough to scare voters into rejecting the proposal.
It shouldn't be too difficult if on paper you're worth several $1 billion to come up with your tax payment without, selling shares or doing some dramatic thing.
Drink what Kool-Aid, Austin? What Kool-Aid am I drinking here? Math? Are you calling math Kool-Aid now? Brother, I'm trying to help you. I really am. Like, I don't know how old you are. However old you are, you have gotten to a point right now where you are saying legitimately the dumbest shit. You're saying that there's unlimited resources for homeless people. That is remarkably stupid. Honest to God, I am trying to help you have educated opinions here. You sound like an idiot. The problem is not fraud, waste, and abuse. That is a problem. But if you took what is the number? It's almost $1 trillion right now, like per year, that we have in taxes that go uncollected that are owed to the federal government. $1 trillion. That is far more than any waste, fraud, and abuse. It doesn't even come close to the small numbers of waste, fraud, and abuse in Medicare, what was next? Surely in daycare fraud, in hospice fraud. I'm trying to help. We could collect $1 trillion. You know how we would do that? We would hire IRS agents. Let me help you with this, Austin. Are you familiar with ROI, return on investment? If you are a capitalist here, you should be familiar with return on investment. Because capitalism, that's what it is, right? You inject your own capital, you spend money, and you hope that your return is more than the money that you put in, right? Our return on investment for cutting taxes for billionaires is negative. It is a negative return on investment. We lose money when we give tax breaks to billionaires. If you invest in an IRS agent, your return is 6 to 1. For every dollar spent on an IRS agent, the return is $6 for every dollar spent. So if you are a capitalist and you apply those principles, why do you suddenly reverse course when it comes to the government? You're like, with the government, though, I would like to do the most ineffective things. That's what I would like to do with the federal government. I would like to choose only products that have no return on investment. Let's spend all of our money by giving handouts to billionaires and on the military. There's no return on investment on any of that. You asked earlier, like, why are we 40 trillion in debt? We're 40 trillion in debt because of conservative ideas like this, of cutting taxes and overspending on the military. And it's crazy because those things have become a part of your ideology and a part of like something that you view as untouchable. You now resort, Austin, to saying dumb shit on a YouTube chat like,
I think what the problem is that we spend too much money on people who are unhoused.
Oh yeah, that's the problem. Why is it okay for billionaires to get handouts, but not people who don't have a home? Why is it okay for a billionaire drug addict to get a handout, but not a person who is a drug addict who doesn't have a home? If you say, like, we should be doing government handouts and we should stop all of these government handouts, then let's look at it honestly and let's say, okay, if we're going to get rid of wasteful spending, we have to acknowledge that if we're spending on something, there needs to be a return on that investment. There is a return on the investment for Medicare, for Social Security. Social Security took 2/3 of the elderly in our country out of poverty overnight. I don't know what the number is now, but it's probably like 30 to 40% of our elderly would be in poverty, destitute, without a home if we didn't have Social Security. That is a great return on investment. That money that they get for Social Security is then injected into local economies, and it was paid for by them. Unlike the military, who just takes out debt spending all day long, unlike the tax breaks that we give to billionaires, which is debt spending, Social Security, Medicare, Medicaid is paid for by line item taxes. When you get your paycheck, and you see Social Security and Medicare withheld, it's to pay for those programs. So you get a return on investment, and it's not putting us in debt. We don't have any debt from Medicare or Medicaid or Social Security. We have debt from the government stealing from Social Security and Medicare and Medicaid, and then loaning against that, and then loaning against that, or borrowing against that over and over and over again. But those things are paid for. Our entire country should be required to take a month off and sit down and learn about our budget and what does and doesn't cost us money. It's tiring to watch the same. And you'll be back tomorrow, Austin. You'll be back. I hope you learned today. But my guess is you'll be back tomorrow saying the same thing because you're not really worried about getting it right. You're trying to have an ideological argument here. And the underlying tone of your ideological argument is poor people bad, rich people untouchable. Give rich everything, give poor nothing. But you fundamentally don't understand things like capitalism or return on investment or a budget or the difference between funded and unfunded spending. You don't seem to get any of that. And I'm honest to God trying to help all of you stop sounding, you probably don't care if you sound stupid, but you support stupidity and it hurts you. And if you have children, it's going to hurt them. It hurts all of us that conservatives refuse to be educated on simple math. We could have a discussion on what to cut if you guys would do the math first. And then we would probably disagree on ideological lines on like what to cut. But until we can get to a point where we're capable of having a conversation with you, where you understand basic math, it's fruitless. And you should have some pride and get to a point where you understand basic math.
There's even a special provision for startups that would allow their founders to delay paying the tax until after their company goes public.
We're trying to make it as easy and reasonable as possible. We're not trying to.
Yes, California has $497 billion in state debt. Why? Because they give fucking handouts to rich people. Jesus Christ, what are you talking about? They give handouts to rich people. They gave incentives for decades. California has been giving handouts to business owners, rich people, people who had plenty of money. Look at behind me. You can see, I get shit for this all the time. You see a 49ers helmet there. They played at a perfectly good stadium, Candlestick Park in San Francisco. And that real estate was really, really valuable. And the owners, the Yorks, were like, hey, we kind of want a new like state-of-the-art stadium. But they couldn't get the city of San Francisco to give them any tax breaks to build a new stadium. So they tried, they used leverage. The Yorks went to the city of San Francisco and said, if you don't give us tax breaks, if you force us to pay for this stadium on our own, we're leaving. And San Francisco said, later. And they left. But before, the way that they were able to leave was sick. They found this plot of land out in Santa Clara. And they went to the city council in Santa Clara and said, hey, would you be willing to give us tax breaks? We'll move the stadium here. It'll bring in like all this revenue. And if you know where the 49ers stadium is, there's nothing there. So they're like, no. And so what did the Yorks do? They funded campaigns for the city council, and they started funding opposition campaigns, and they basically got the entire city council replaced with people who would vote to give them a tax break, and then they moved to Santa Clara with a tax break. Now, what is the return on investment there for the people of Santa Clara? Not great. Not great. Their house values went up. The people that benefit from the local economy because of football games, you're talking about restaurants, bars, and hotels. Those workers their wages didn't go up. So who benefited there? It was the people that owned the restaurants and the bars, and they didn't raise the wages. And the people that work at those places, the restaurants, bars, and hotels, they no longer can afford to live near where they used to work. So now they have to commute, and that costs them more money. This is basic shit. And if we could just get conservatives to start doing math, we'd stop running into this. But that is welfare. That is waste, fraud, and abuse. That is corporatism, that's cronyism, that's corruption. That's why California is in debt. It is not because they are nice to people who may be unhoused. Stop doing that.
To cause a liquidity problem for these billionaires. We're not trying to cause them to sell shares when they don't want to. We're just trying to use reasonable modern tools in order to close a gap.
Clown mate still didn't win the Super Bowl though. Fuck you. Dolphin says, I'm unsure on my concern, but we just hit Iran's biggest bridge. Isn't hitting infrastructure a crime? I'm probably wrong, but tried to double check from Jen. Must be busy. I don't want to sound like an idiot. It can be. I don't know. It would depend on what they hit it. You can justify some of this stuff. Who cares? It's not like anybody's going to hold the United States accountable for anything. Alfredo said, defund pedo billionaires, tax the shit out of them.
Human rights!
And sure, billionaire-backed PACs are already spending big to try to defeat this proposal. But the billionaire class solidarity might not be as strong as you'd think. This is an interview with Jensen Huang, CEO of NVIDIA and one of the California billionaires who would be subject to the wealth tax.
Is it something that's of concern to you?
You know, I gotta tell you, I haven't thought about it even once. We work in Silicon Valley because that's where the talent pool is, and whatever taxes I guess they would like to apply, so be it. Maybe I'm perfectly fine with it. It never crossed my mind once.
For Wong, a one-time 5% tax is a small price.
Mondo Para, stop with your bumper stickers. Mondo Para, you have to come up here and talk to me. You've been here for too long, and you're just spamming shit. Mute Mondo Para for 5 minutes. Mondo Para, you have to come up here and talk to me, or I'm done with you. I'm tired of your bumper sticker politics here every day. You've said like 50 things that are dumb. You have to talk to me from now on. I'm in a bad mood today. You don't get to just sit in the chat and spam dumb shit.
To pay to live in a region where his business can recruit the most highly skilled workers. It's a perspective that mirrors that of the working Californians who I spoke with.
Billionaires are making their money off the backs of our public infrastructure. And so we need to make sure that they are paying their fair share for the resources that they are using.
They are making a lot of revenue on workers and working families in the state. And if they cannot help with the 5%, to help the workers that are making their businesses thrive, then see you later.
Why are we doing this? We are doing this because on July
Shane says, Brick Thor, that makes as much sense as eating ice cream in a blizzard.
4th of last year, President Trump signed a piece of legislation that's going to take $1 trillion out of the U.S. healthcare system. And that money is being moved to the richest people in the country.
Affordable health care, universal child care, free school meals for every kid. These are not radical concepts. They're part of everyday life in many parts of the world. But it took decades of work and 5 failed attempts before the millionaire's tax became a reality in Massachusetts. Billionaire PACs are already pouring money into California to defeat this proposal. These things do not just become a part of everyday life. Not without a fight.
Kids' eyes were crazy. All right. Tax the rich. Learn how to do math. If you're not in favor of taxing the rich, all we can assume here is that you don't know how to do math. Try and prove us otherwise. Give me a mathematical equation that tells you that taxing the rich doesn't work. Show me an example of where taxing rich people their fair share was a problem. All right, let's talk about this. Trump fires Pam Bondi as Attorney General. Trump fired Attorney General Pam Bondi on Thursday, removing the nation's top law enforcement officers as frustration with their job performance deepened. Oh, Todd Blanche, good. Yeah. Oh, the acting Attorney General. Okay. I wonder what this means for testifying. I mean, they can still subpoena her. Trump will claim executive privilege. We need a lawyer here. I'm not sure. Yeah, I mean, is this as obvious as it could possibly be? They desperately don't want her testifying in front of Congress. The dismissal of Ms. Bondi ends a turbulent 14-month tenure, yada, yada, yada. The process, Bondi surrendered much of the department's historic independence. Is there anything in here about if she's going to have to testify? Huh. I'm not sure. At the end here, it says, committee's Republican Chairman Comer of Kentucky scheduled a deposition for April 14th. Bondi has said she would comply with the law, but she and Comer have quietly been working together to avoid the deposition, even though it's unclear if it is legally possible to withdraw a subpoena. I don't know. I don't know the answer on that. Does anybody know? Can we arrest Pam Bondi now? Congrats, Republicans, though, by the way. You guys have covered up the Epstein files. It's cool to be a Republican today. It's cool to be MAGA. Today, you're defending billionaires while you can't afford basic stuff, or most Americans can't afford like basic stuff. And now we're celebrating Pam Bondi not having to testify so that you guys don't have to admit that your president was best buds with a pedophile and likely was one himself. So anything you can do to not have to address reality, right? All right. I'm actually going to skip number 3. Let's not do that. Is this it? Let me see. Okay. This is how Donald Trump woke up this morning. This is a real person. This is what your president did this morning. This is what our taxpayer dollars are hard at work for. Trump woke up this morning on a day when he gave, we're going to actually watch his speech, and it was horrific and dumb. And he woke up today after he thought he killed it. Bad and very boring singer Bruce Springsteen, who looks like a dried up prune and who has suffered greatly from the work of a really bad plastic surgeon. It's interesting when Trump like comments on other people's looks. He's so cartoonish, and then he's gonna talk about Bruce Springsteen and has had a long and horrible and incurable case of Trump derangement syndrome, sometimes referred to as TDS. This guy's a total loser, just one of like the greatest musicians of all time, who spews hate against a president who won a landslide, including the popular vote, all 7 swing states and 86% of the counties across America. Under Sleepy Joe and the Dems, our country was dead, and now we have the hottest country by far. This guy's a fucking psycho. He's an idiot. Get it together, Donald. All of you get it together. This guy, by the way, we are long past the stage that we were with Joe Biden when it was very apparent that he had slipped. Donald Trump has lost his mind. We're going to watch his speech because I think it's important to force all of us to watch president lose his mind in real time. And it's not necessarily about Trump. It's your reactions and the reactions of his staff pretending that this is all normal right now. We had to hear this from you about Joe Biden for years, and now you're just going to sit here and pretend that Donald Trump hasn't lost his mind? This guy, Fox, says, shocking that Trump is only firing the women in this administration. Sounds like Tulsi's next. I did see that. It sounds like they want to get rid of Tulsi because Tulsi didn't do enough to stop Joe Kent from being a whistleblower. All right. Truth hurts. What was the truth there? I thought we muted Mondo Para. Mute Mondo Para for the rest of the live. They didn't come up. See you, Mondo Para. We'll see you tomorrow. Okay. Trump held a press conference before his speech, and we'll watch the speech in a minute, but I wanted to take a couple clips from his press conference. And when we talk about Iran, we'll get some more of them. But here's the plan. And when we say like MAGA's dumb, it's because they listen to this guy. Now here's what Trump is saying about our country. America first, right? Trump ran on no new wars, America first. We're going to make America great again. He talked about how he would make healthcare affordable. He talked about how he would make daycare affordable. He talked about making everything more affordable. And now nothing is more affordable, and we're in all sorts of new wars, and he's completely changed his tune. Most of you, it won't change. You'll just roll with it.
And I actually said to them,
it was the Easter luncheon? Okay.
I said to Russell, don't send any money for daycare because the United States can't take care of daycare. That has to be up to a state. We can't take care of daycare. We're a big country. We have 50 states. We have all these other people. We're fighting wars. We can't take care of daycare. You got to let a state take care of daycare, and they should pay for it too. They should pay. They have to raise their taxes.
Well, they have to what? They have to do what then? Raise their taxes. He wants to cut federal taxes, have states do it so that he doesn't have to catch shit for it. We need to stop funding daycare for children to fight more wars.
All these other people were fighting wars. We can't take care of daycare. You got to let a state take care of daycare, and they should pay for it too. They should pay. They have to raise their taxes, but they should pay.
You guys, are you going to turn on him now? He said, "Wait, now you're arguing against him. You guys going to come on, MAGA? Hurry! Tell him he's an idiot. Tell him taxes are theft. Tell him all this stuff. Tell him that that's all fraud. You can't pay for children. Hurry! Get mad at him. Come on." Where are we? Where are we? Come on, guys. Get mad at him. Come on. Austin, get mad at him. Trump said raise taxes. Come on, Austin. Come on. Where you at? Come on, get mad at him. None of you? Oh, okay. You're going to wait? That's what I thought.
Pay for it. And we could lower our taxes a little bit to them to make up, but it's not possible for us to take care of daycare.
I'd like to know what this means too.
We could lower our taxes a little bit to them, raise their taxes, but they should pay for it. And we could lower our taxes a little bit to them.
Does he think we tax states? What's he talking about? What's he talking about there?
Make up, but it's not possible for us to take care of daycare. Medicaid, Medicare, all these individual things, they can do it on a state basis. You can't do it on a federal.
They're all paid. Medicare is paid for. We can do it. We do it. We've been doing it. It's not debt spending. It's all paid for. Our president is as dumb as you guys. He also doesn't understand the budget. He also doesn't understand spending. And that's the real problem, is that legitimately you have people running this government who have no idea how any of this works.
We have to take care of one thing, military protection. We have to guard the country. But all these
military wastes way more money, far more money than any of these other programs. They can't pass a budget. They're missing, there's trillions of dollars unaccounted for. You don't get to talk about daycare. Anybody who brings up daycare right now, 5-minute mute. You can't talk about daycare unless you say, if you're going to bring up daycare, you have to say, I know that the military wastes more money, but so does daycare. You have to preface anything about wasteful spending right now in the chat. Mods, have a heyday. Any Republican who talks about wasteful spending for the rest of this live that doesn't first bring up that the military wastes more money and has more money unaccounted for, you get to mute them for 5 minutes at a time. 5 minutes at a time. Have a fun time, mods. Hope you enjoy this.
little things, all these little scams that have taken place, you have to let states take care of them, Russell, and you have to do it. Linda McMahon, she's done such a great job. She's moved education back to the states.
It already was with the states. This man, not only is he sundowning, he wasn't that bright to begin with. Education is already dictated on a state level. There is just federal funding for certain things, but the decisions that states make, that already existed before he got into office. She didn't do that. It's not a real thing. Peepaw lost his mind a long time ago, but it's so apparent now. In fact, interestingly enough, I've told you this before, I have one bet on Kalshi, those like prediction markets. The only bet I have out there is that Trump will resign during his first term. And I bought it at 18%, and it's been sitting at 18% forever. I checked this morning, it's up to 26%. So apparently after yesterday, there are a lot of people that go, uh-oh, he might be on his way out. Oh, it gets so much worse. Let's talk about the military spending. This was from Mother Jones. This was really interesting. Good job by Mother Jones here. Let me check comments real fast before we play that video. Tanya said, great show so far. Thank you. Thank you, Tanya. You're always so generous. There. All right. And just a reminder, guys, we are crowdfunded, so anything you can do to help us knock out that gift goal, which I will update here in a second, would be greatly appreciated. But let's talk about wasteful spending, should we?
Headed up by Elon, and we appreciate it. We found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud.
In September, the Pentagon broke every spending record in recorded history.
Woo! Yeah. Give it up for the Pentagon. More spending than any time in history. Great job, Pentagon.
The next month, 42 million Americans were told there was no money for food. Let's break down the numbers. Every September, the Defense Department faces a hard deadline. Under the use it or lose it rules, any unspent money has to be handed back to the Treasury. So the military rushes to spend whatever's left before the clock runs out. Every administration does this.
Brilliant.
What happened last year was way beyond anything we've ever seen before. The Pentagon spent $93.4 billion last September, the most any federal agency has spent in a single month ever recorded. $50 billion of that was spent in the last 5 working days of the month.
Who was that just said that? Mushy. Wastefully spending. How much have we spent on illegal immigrants? Another dumb argument. Okay, you have you have 5 minutes, Mushy, to give us an argument. In 5 days, the Pentagon spent $50 billion. I need you to find any time in 5 days that we spent $50 billion on immigration, and then get back to us here with your really good opinions.
So what does $93 billion get you these days? These numbers come from the nonpartisan watchdog agency Open the Books, which tracks government spending. $2 million for Alaskan king crab.
Is that important?
$15.1 million for ribeye steak.
Is that important?
$6.9 million in lobster
Is that important? Remember, you guys were crying about kids' school lunches earlier.
tail. Under Hexit, the Pentagon has actually run up quite a serious lobster tab. More than $7 million in 4 separate months last year.
Over 4 months, $28 million in lobster?
Furniture, fruit baskets, musical instruments, ice cream machines.
What do you think we need musical instruments for?
Donuts, sushi prep tables, the list goes on. Now, this is the same administration that created an entire new department whose sole purpose was eliminating wasteful government.
Am I the only one that feels like the right learns about these topics for the first time when Trump says them, and then they just agree blindly and parrot? Yeah, everybody knows. They know that too.
Spending.
$8 million for making mice transgender.
Fact checkers later found many of Trump's figures were misleading or missing key context. But the message about the war on government waste was clear. In October, the month after the spending spree, the government shut down, leaving 42 million Americans, 1 in 8, without food assistance through SNAP. And it may get worse. In July, Trump's big beautiful bill restructured SNAP with new work and eligibility requirements and shifted part of the cost to the states. The nonpartisan Congressional Budget Office estimates as many as 4 million people could lose their food assistance permanently as a result. The Pentagon's lobster bill alone could cover monthly SNAP budget.
Steve B. Now, $10 billion in childcare fraud by local Democrats. That was over the course of, I think, about 10 years, Steve B. This was $50 billion in 5 days. So, Steve B., you're going to get muted for the rest of the live. Unless what I need you to say is, wow, it took 5 days to 5x the number of 10 years of fraud in childcare. So it's something along those lines, Steve. You have to admit that the military wastes more money than we have uncovered in fraud for Medicare. Otherwise, you got to go. All right, Steve? You have to admit that, Steve, or else you got to go. We're banning. We're muting a ton of dipshits today. I don't have the patience for dipshits today. I haven't got my medication yet.
Benefits for about 20,000 families. And here's the kicker. Trump is now pushing for the Pentagon's budget to jump 66% next year to $1.5 trillion, which would be the largest increase since the Korean War. And the Pentagon just requested more than $200 billion in emergency funding.
Think of it. We've spent $8 trillion in the Middle East. And we're not fixing our roads in this country? How stupid is it?
We won't talk about it, though, right? We only get upset at fraud when it involves immigrants or poor people, not when it's the military. All right. Then we just did flat out racism, and which is cool. I want to talk about IQ for a second. IQ is based on not your inherited intelligence. If you did an IQ test of people and you based it on like testing standards, let's say of the knowledge somebody had acquired in Pakistan, and you compared that to the United States, you're going to see a lower number, right? United States is going to have a lower number there. IQ tests are a product of like your environment around you, not your ability to process information or learn information. But Trump has a room temperature IQ, and so he doesn't understand that. This is somebody who consistently boasts about his IQ, and yet any analysis done on Trump's speech patterns and his ability to write says he has about a 4th grade education when it comes to reading and writing. He can't do basic math. He's a terrible reader. When he reads from a teleprompter, which we'll show you in a bit, it's problematic. He consistently puts out facts that contradict himself. This is not a highly intelligent man. It's probably the dumbest president we've ever had. I can't speak to presidents before, like we have a record, like a lot of their speeches, but he's remarkably dumb. But he loves talking about how people who don't look like him, and by don't look like him, I mean skin color, not a bloated, comb-over, spray-painted orange douchebag. I mean just like white people. And so now he's going to make up a bunch of shit about Somalia at this Easter brunch here, talking about Jesus, and he's like, I'm going to do some racism.
Terrible. A lot of people say it's the worst country anywhere in the world. They have no money, no nothing. They have no government. They have no police. They just shoot each other all day long. It's just pure.
Somalia has a government. Somalia has police. They don't just shoot each other all day long. It is a country. All of that is untrue. It's a bizarre thing for a president to say. It's a bizarre thing for a human to say. It's a dumb thing for a human to say. Overgeneralizing like this, like even if you say that he's being hyperbolic, it's a really dumb way to communicate. And if your job is to be a leader and communicate, and this is the way that you communicate, we're left to assume that your brain doesn't work very well.
Bedlam, probably the worst, most dangerous country. We have some beauties. They go to Minnesota.
Now, this is where this is completely incoherent. And this is why we say, like, not only is he sundowning, not only has he lost his mind, but he didn't start from a good place when he became president. It was already a low bar. But this next minute and 30 seconds I might be his dumbest minute. None of this makes any sense.
And they stole $19 billion. $19 billion. And they're low IQ. Generally, I mean, I can.
Now, obviously, even our own MAGA in the chat said it was $9 billion. The $19 billion is completely made up. Nobody has a record of $19 billion.
Generalize, they're low IQ people. They're bad people. They have 94% unemployment. No.
Huh? Is he saying that Somalis in Minnesota have a unemployment rate of 94%? And then they stole money through their jobs? 94%, and they're also somehow able to steal $20 billion through businesses that they set up? Huh? Explain it to me. Get rid of Mondo Para. Can somebody get rid of Mondo Para, please? Mods? I want Mondo Para out of here. I'm tired of dumb shittery today.
I already got him.
Okay, thank you. Explain it to me. Explain 94% unemployment. 94%. Oh, they're on welfare. And I don't think that number is correct either. Let's see. This number is for like some form of government assistance. 81% get some source of government welfare, which is fine. They pay taxes. They're no different than you or I. And if they qualify for government assistance, then that means that their wages aren't high enough. Let's see. What percentage of Somalis Minnesota are employed? I think that might be where he gets the 94%. 73% of working age adults are employed. You can't have 73% be employed and also have 94% be unemployed. Don't ask me to show. Yeah. He said 9. Let's go back here. There's no way this number is correct.
They have 94% unemployment. In other words, they don't want to work, you know.
That's insane.
Get a lot of jobs available, right, with the economy. They don't want to work. Why would they work? And they sold more Mercedes-Benzes than any state in the union.
So they're all unemployed, and they're driving Mercedes-Benzes. What you want to say? Explain it. There's no scenario where this isn't a crazy person. If this guy was sitting at a park bench rambling this, you'd be like, bro, what the fuck? You would text your friend and be like, help me, I gotta get out of here. I gotta stop talking to this crazy person. If you didn't know who this was, if we could just like tune out his voice and play this for you, you'd be like, huh? None of this makes sense. And this is the president of the United States of America. 94% unemployment rate. They also somehow stole $20 billion without being employed, but they had to have a business or a job to steal that money, and they all drive Mercedes. Got it.
Because they come here with no money, and they go out, they love a Mercedes-Benz, and they go out and buy Mercedes-Benzes.
With no money? They come here with no money and no job, and then they buy Mercedes-Benzes. Thank you, Michael Young, for checking that out. The largest state that sells Mercedes-Benz vehicles is California, holding 13% of the Mercedes-Benz market. Can you tell me what it is in, Michael, will you look in Minnesota? what that number is? Thank you.
And I think you're going to get to the bottom of it real easy. And
we don't even know what the fuck you're saying. How would we get to the bottom of any of that? That was incoherent.
every one of them should be. And Ilhan Omar, who married her husband, married her brother became her husband. When she has to check a book, she says...
Okay. Now no evidence to back this up, but listen to the analogy he gives here. I fuck up analogies from time to time, and I feel bad about it. Let's listen.
When she has to check a book, she says, any brothers? One. Any husband? One. She checks 2 people.
Raise your hand if I don't know what checking a book is. I have no clue what that means. But raise your hand if you would check a box for both a brother and a husband. Lots of people who are married also have brothers. What does that mean? What is he talking about?
Check a book. She says, any brothers? One. Any husband? One. She checks 2 people. So on top of everything else, she gets a double income tax cut. She's
You don't get an income tax cut for having a brother. What's he talking about?
Stone cold crook. And everybody knows it. And the
34-time convicted felon here is calling somebody that they can't pin a crime on a stone-cold crook, and everybody knows it. An actual felon, an actual crook here. A man who stole from his own charity, who's barred from operating a charity in the state of New York because he is a criminal. A man who's been sued hundreds of times and lost and settled hundreds of times. Is going to call somebody with no criminal record a criminal. And you guys are like, yeah.
Papers, they have one paper out in particular. The guy made a living writing about her, and I spoke to him. He said, but nobody does anything about it, sir.
Couldn't you do something about it, sir? Why don't you guys do something about it? You said you were going to. You said you were going to investigate Ilhan Omar. Where's those charges? Are you not the head of the executive branch? Do you not have a DOJ that just openly fillets you and will do anything that you want them to? How come every time you keep claiming somebody's a criminal and your DOJ takes it to court, they can't even get a fucking grand jury? Oh, because you don't have evidence.
All you have to do is get his writings from the Indianapolis Star or whatever paper he works for. You don't even have to do anything. This guy spent 10 years investigating that crook, and you got to do something about it.
You do. You're the president, man. Who are you talking to? Who are you talking to right now? What crime did she commit?
Or our people are going to get they're already upset. Takes too long. So JD, you go do it.
We got you sensitive little bitches upset in the chat today. This guy, the attacks on me are good. Keep them coming, bitches. Keep them coming. At least you know what I'm saying.
And Russell, you better do it.
Yeah. All right. So that was cool. Again, Easter brunch. This is an Easter brunch. He decided to talk about that. Then he kind of like gets distracted. He goes on to Iran, and look how easily this guy gets distracted. My favorite part about Trump sundowning, though, is that he started just telling the truth. He doesn't understand like what's socially acceptable and what's not anymore. He doesn't understand the things he's saying and how it will backfire. But I think like we may be seeing the beginning of the end. This is insane. Watch what he says here, talking to Iran, and then gets distracted, and he accidentally tells the truth.
This was not part of what I wanted to do, but we've done it, I guess, through sheer force of personality. We have a regime change like nobody thought was possible.
Oh, we're doing a regime change war. Whoops. I didn't want to do it, but I did it anyways.
So what do you mean you have regime change? My friend, great show. I love this guy. He's so nice to me. Every time I watch... And I appreciate. We're not supposed to be seduced that way, right? But I am. When somebody's nice to me, I love that person. Even if they're bad people, I couldn't care less. I'll fight to the end for them. So this
might explain why he's fighting till the end for Jeffrey Epstein. It might be why he's so friendly to Vladimir Putin. That is a wild thing to admit. If you're nice to me, I don't care. If you're a good person, don't care what you do. Just be nice to me, and I will fight till the end for you.
Appreciate it. But, I mean, I want to see no nuclear weapon, but we also won regime change. They said, and the other thing.
Won regime change, whatever that means. But I am enjoying this more honest version of Trump. And if you are still on board with him, like, don't tell us it's not a cult, please. It's by far his worst speech, Madeline. Like, he's given some bad speeches, but this one is obvious. You have to go out of your way to pretend that this person has his brain together. This is way worse than the Joe Biden at the debates. Joe Biden would struggle and get lost, but like he would find it, and you knew what he was saying. I don't know what he's saying. None of you know what he's saying. The fact that when we ask you what he's saying and you yell at me, I think proves that you also don't know what he's saying. This is just as uncomfortable for you as it is for us. You're just now projecting and getting really upset about it. It's a cult. There was a clip. I don't know. I forgot to put it in here of him like laughing about how he's not a king, and how all these liberals calling him a king is weird. This is Pastor Lance Wallnau. He runs like a Trump church. It might not be us calling him a king.
And with Trump there, which is one of those rare moments in Earth history where you have someone who's not a politician, you almost got a prophet in office. They said to him yesterday, he's hilarious. They said to him, when will this war with Iran be done? He goes, I'll know. Well, when will you know? What evidence are you looking for? I'll feel it in my bones. Folks, that's not even normal. That's why his enemies are.
Yeah, it's not normal. It's almost like he doesn't know. It's almost like he just uses his gut instinct. And these are a bunch of Christians going, he must be a prophet. If he doesn't give us answers, he must be a prophet. That's how I grew up with a prophet. They'll give you answers. If it doesn't make sense, just trust them blindly.
Freaking out. Trump's going to feel it in his bones. Yeah. That's exactly right. That's how he negotiates all these deals. It's a gut instinct. It's called his spirit man. This guy's an actual Old Testament prophet king. That's what he really is, whether you like him or not.
He is a lot like Old Testament prophet kings in that they do very awful things, and we're supposed to pretend that they're not. Like, it's all right if they like put their friends in battle so that they can impregnate their wives. It's okay if they murder people. It's okay if they rape people. It's okay if they genocide people. All these things, all these Old Testament prophets, they all had kind of like one thing in common. They did horrific things, and then God forgave them for it and justified it for them. He is a lot like an Old Testament prophet, just a complete and total piece of shit who occasionally says, I love Jesus, and so all is forgiven. I think that's actually like pretty good analysis there. Then later, I wanted to show that because for some reason, because I guess it's because it's an Easter brunch, Trump brought up Paula White. You remember from yesterday? Let me pull this clip up actually from yesterday. Paula White is Trump's spiritual advisor. She claims they've been friends for 20 years. I would be surprised by that. I don't think Trump has any friends from 20 years ago. He certainly wasn't a Christian. I think he used to say that he was an atheist. But let me find this. Right, we showed the. Never mind. That's a longer video. I showed you guys the video of her interviewing Netanyahu, but she also had this commercial up for the weekend. So while she's at the White House using that platform, she also was running this ad on, I don't know, Jesus TV or whatever it is. Probably Fox News, actually.
I believe that when you honor God on Passover, starting on April 12th at sundown through Good Friday on the 18th and concluding on Easter Sunday, you can receive these 7 supernatural blessings for you and your house.
For a limited time, God will give you these supernatural blessings for a low price of.
According to Exodus 23, God will assign an angel to you. He'll be an enemy to your enemies. He'll give you prosperity. He'll take sickness away from you. He will give you long life. He'll bring increase in inheritance, and he'll give a special year of blessing. You're not doing this to get something. but you're doing it in honor to God, realizing what you can receive.
For your special Passover offering of $1,000 or more as the Holy Spirit leads, you will also receive the beautiful 10-inch Waterford Crystal Cross. Don't miss your moment to release 7 supernatural blessings and provision into
double check that. I don't think Trump ever claimed to be an atheist, so I'll fix that. I think I guess he used to say he was a Presbyterian and then a non-denominational Christian. But then he brings up Paula White, Prophet Paula, who's obviously grifting. I don't know how much this dress cost. She rolled in this dress, and then she got to give some remarks.
Come. We have some great people in this room, and we're leaving a few out, but it's only because we don't see you. Okay.
Holy Spirit, activate. Just a reminder, guys, before Jen gets back, we are crowdfunded, so anything you can do to help us knock out our gift goal by the end of the live would be greatly appreciated. We got about 2 hours left to go. Got a hard cutoff today. Today is one of the days I got to go pick up my daughter from school. But get your barf bags ready. And Christians, you're not going to like the next 15 minutes. You may want to check out for a minute.
First off, thank you so much, President.
Yeah, Shane, that ad was real. It was 100% real.
And for all the great faith leaders that are here, happy Easter. This is a very holy week for us, and we're just honored you took your valuable time. For all of our cabinet members and secretaries, we thank you. And most of all, I really feel like the Lord gave me something this morning, and this is family. So I want to thank you very much.
You should have gotten dressed up a little bit.
I know. We were initially having a dinner.
It's honestly a pretty good joke. I actually liked that joke. I laughed at that when I saw it. Give him kudos every once in a while.
So
it's actually nice.
Thank you, sir. And so I decided to wear it anyway. But the Bible says to give thanks for all things. And as I was praying this morning, the word gratitude just kept coming to me. And so there's so many things I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for salvation and the finished work of Jesus Christ and my family, and the list would go on and on. But as I prayed, it was like the Holy Spirit just zoned me in and said, tell President Trump how thankful you are for him. And I think
I was thinking about Jesus, and I was thinking about how grateful I was of the blessings. And then God was like, hey, shut the fuck up. I need you to tell Trump how thankful you are for him. Don't talk about those blessings. Shut up. Make sure you tell Trump how much you love him. Round of applause. No applause for Jesus there earlier. Just Trump getting the applause now. Standing ovation. It's a celebration of the resurrection of Jesus Christ and the atonement of Jesus dying for your sins, suffering in the Garden of Gethsemane. Everybody's quiet until she tells a story about how Jesus told her to shut the fuck up during her prayer and praise Trump. Yay! I want to watch, I think, is this Caroline Levitt here? Watch Caroline Levitt. This is another thing. I need you to pay attention to this, because this happens in all cults and where you have like a dear leader. Watch Caroline Levitt when she stands up. This standing ovation is for her, but she wants to make sure everybody else is standing up too. They all look around like, I'm just as obedient as you. This is a very like culty thing she does. Room. It's over. Now here we're going to record. Look at all these people in submission.
And I felt like I was conveying the heart of God for all of us.
Donation towards that crystal cross. Thank you.
That we are thankful for the greatest champion of faith that we've ever seen in a president. And we honor you because of your bold, unwavering conviction and stand for religious liberty.
Wasn't me, says spiritual advisor implies Trump has a soul.
Here in America and around the world. And you recognize...
He's currently bombing the fuck out of another country. He just got done telling you that Somalians were all criminal, low IQ people, and like he just rambled incoherently for 20 minutes, spouting racist lies about people, and she's up here going, this is what God wanted. He needed you. Your saving religion.
The power and the name of Jesus Christ. I remember when we told our first briefing, you can now pray again and worship again. They begin.
You could always pray you could always worship. That didn't come back with Donald Trump. Joe Biden went to church every fucking Sunday. Every fucking Sunday, whether he was back in Delaware or he was in DC, he went to church. He talked about it. He had Easter celebrations. He had Christmas celebrations. He talked openly about his faith. What? This is so weird. Why are you guys doing this? Who is this for? Him? Just for him? Just praising dear leader? Frankie said it's giving Kim Jong-il's funeral. Yeah. Oh, his funeral is going to be a must-watch nightmare.
To shout and praise and say, thank you, Lord, and sing in their highest ways for your unwavering recognition that the strength of a nation is through Almighty God. And you have not backed away from any of this. Thank you for allowing me to serve you.
What does that mean? What does any of this mean? You know what? I promise you Iran's not like, fuck, that must have been Jesus blowing up our building again. God damn it. That was our school being bombed by Jesus. My bad. I promise nobody fears Jesus. And I have a hard time believing that Jesus is like, bomb them. Blow up those kids. Go for it. What has he done for Christianity? If we still have Christians here?
To serve people of faith.
You bet me $100 that Trump has never repented for any of his sins. He said it. There's an interview. And he said he doesn't believe in repentance.
And to serve the American people. I've heard many people take credit for you being here or for some of your victories and for being in the sacred office of the president.
Fair question. What kind of God do I believe in? I don't believe in God, and I don't have any problem with anybody who believes in God. If your belief in God leads you to be a better, more kind, caring, and empathetic person, I'm all for it. If that, I don't have to believe what you believe. That doesn't necessarily mean that I'm right that there isn't a God. But what I have a problem with is people who talk about God openly while they are being cruel. If you worship that God, your God's a bitch. Fuck your God. But if you worship a God that makes you a better person, more kind and compassionate, empathetic, less racist, less bigoted, then I'm all for it. And I hope that your God exists, and I hope that I'm wrong. But if you worship the same God that Trump says he worships, your God sucks.
But the truth of it is you are here because of God and because of you.
He's actually there because he won an election. More people voted for him than Harris. That's actually why he's here. Stop making normal things miracles. Every president is in place because they won an election. It's the only reason they're there. Please stop taking the credit from the American people and giving it to God.
And I just wanted to share this thought and pray over President Trump. Jesus taught us so many lessons through his death, burial, and resurrection. He showed us great leadership, great transformation requires great sacrifice.
What sacrifice has Trump made? He's made $4 billion this time around as president. What is the sacrifice that he's made? Anybody?
And Mr. President,
now people say mean things about him. Newsflash, people said mean things about him before. Newsflash, people said mean things about Melania before. Newsflash, people said mean things about his daughters and his sons before. He was a public figure. He was a reality TV show villain. Before he was a reality TV show villain, he was probably the most hated rich person in the country. He's always been a villain who puts his family in the spotlight. He has sacrificed absolutely nothing. He would probably be bankrupt if it wasn't for becoming president.
no one has paid the price like you have paid the price. It almost cost you your life. You were betrayed and arrested.
You were found guilty, though. Right? Like, who betrayed him? Betrayed? It's a loaded fucking word. That is a loaded word. This is creepy. This is like the creepy cult shit. Betrayed? Ma'am, he lost all 3 cases. He was arrested twice. No, actually, I take that back. He wasn't arrested. They allowed him to come in, turn himself in, take a mugshot, and leave twice. One of those times it went to trial. He lost. He's a convicted felon. The other time was that he was able to stretch it out. Who betrayed him? And why is being convicted of a crime that you absolutely committed somehow an attack? This is where we're at now, where we're comparing Jesus to financial criminals. What she's talking about right now that he was arrested for and convicted of, if you remember, is when he was married, he had an affair with Stormy Daniels, who was an adult film star. And Stormy Daniels then, when Trump ran for president, said, I'm going to profit off this. And she said she went to Trump's lawyer, Michael Cohen. Actually, she first went to what's the guy's name that owned the National Enquirer? David something, right? She went to him and she was like, I've got this story, because everybody knew that if you wanted to get money from Trump, you went to the National Enquirer. The National Enquirer would buy the story and they would kill it. They would never air the story, and then Trump would reimburse them. So she went to the National Enquirer and he was like, I'm not going to pay for this because Trump hasn't paid me for these other stories that I've killed. So I'm not doing it. And the National Enquirer reached out to Michael Cohen and they were like, hey, we're not doing this for you again. You guys didn't pay us on the last one, so you're going to have to figure it out. So Michael Cohen then went to Trump and was like, hey, she's going to come out with this story. And it was right on the heels of the Access Hollywood tape. Remember that one tape where Donald Trump was like, I can do anything I want. I can grab them by the pussy. And if you're famous, they let you do it. And then there were all these other stories of women before that tape came out of Donald Trump literally walking up. He said, I'm automatically attracted to them. I just start kissing them. There's all these stories before that ever came out of him just going to women and groping them and kissing them without their permission. Multiple people had sued him. And so this confirmed all of their stories. And then like a week later, Stormy Daniels like, I'm going to probably make some money off this too then. So she came with this story. Michael Cohen went to Trump and they're like, well, we can't really bury it the way we used to because the National Enquirer won't bury this for us. So Michael Cohen's like, all right, here's what we'll do. I'll take out a loan on my own for I think it was a home equity line of credit. I'll pay her the money and then you can pay me back. And Trump's like, okay, but we can't, like, if we pay you back, it's going to look like a campaign contribution, which is illegal. So let's figure out a way to pay you back. So like, what we'll do is we'll just have it, we'll pretend that we're paying you for legal services. And Trump actually paid it back double. I don't remember what it was, 250 grand maybe, and they paid him back, or 200 grand, they paid him back 400, whatever the number was. They paid him double because they knew he would be taxed on that income at around 50%. And so he went to Alan Weisselberg, Trump's CFO, and they created a pay structure where every month he would be paid for legal services for this money that he gave to Stormy Daniels. The problem is there weren't any legal services. He didn't perform any legal services because he was the president at the time, and the president can't be sued for anything while he's president. So there were no legal services offered. And so when Michael Cohen got confronted about this, and he went in front of Congress. They first brought him into Congress. He lied under oath to Congress. Now it's a crime. He was confronted, and the FBI is basically like, you're busted. And he's like, all right, you got me. I'm busted. Here's what I did. So when Michael Cohen goes to jail, gets a criminal record for this, goes to jail for this exact crime. Trump's listed as co-conspirator number 1 on the documents, but they can't say his name because he's president. So as soon as he's out of office, he is charged with this crime of campaign contributions accepting campaign contributions over the limit, and then also covering up the crime by altering his books. And he loses that case unanimously, easily, with a jury. This one had a jury. With a jury of his peers just unanimously decided he was guilty. It was an obvious case. The other person who did the crime with him had already went to prison for this case. And Paula White is comparing him to Jesus being persecuted. The real thing that's happening here. Go back there.
Transformation requires great sacrifice. And Mr. President, no one has paid the price like you have paid the price.
I mean,
it
Jesus
almost cost you your life.
I mean, Jesus did, right? Like Jesus, nobody has ever paid a price like Donald Trump. JFK was assassinated. Abraham Lincoln was assassinated. Ronald Reagan was shot. We have multiple presidents who have paid a greater price than Donald Trump, and she's comparing him to Jesus.
You were betrayed and arrested and falsely accused.
He was guilty. He was guilty. He was found guilty. It was not a false accusation. He was guilty. And he was civilly liable of the other one. This lying psychopath.
It's a familiar pattern that our Lord and Savior.
You guys remember that? I think it's in Luke when Luke's tells the story of how Jesus paid off a porn star, but he gave the money to Matthew, so Matthew would pay it so that Pontius Pilate wouldn't find out. And then that's ultimately what got Jesus crucified, is trying to cover up an affair with a porn star when his wife had just had their baby. I remember that part. That's my favorite part of the Bible.
Showed us. But it didn't end there for him, and it didn't end there for you. God always had a plan. On the third day, he rose, he defeated evil, he conquered death, hell, and the grave. And because he rose, we all know that we can rise.
Don't do it.
And sir, because of his resurrection, you rose up. Because he was victorious, you were victorious. And I believe that the Lord...
On Easter? Come on Easter, you said Jesus was resurrected so Trump could be president on Easter fucking week. Jesus died so that Trump could be president, they say. Come on. It's Jesus. Give Jesus his week. Don't co-opt Easter for Trump, please.
Said to tell you this. Because of his victory,
He told her to say it. Sorry. She was instructed to say this to Trump by Jesus.
Because of his resurrection, you rose up. Because he was victorious, you were victorious. And I believe that the Lord said to tell you this. Because of his victory, you will be victorious in all you put your hand to.
Except for court cases. You will fucking lose all of those. Except for almost every time you have tried to prosecute somebody that you didn't like, you lost all of those. Yeah, this is insane. Jesus told her that he will win everything. He's gonna lose this war in Iran. There's no way the MAGA folks, have you guys all gone quiet? There's no way you guys there's no way you're loving this.
Amen. Because God is with you and God is using you to defeat evil.
You are using God, ma'am, and he is using God. What it feels like.
To restore families, to awaken the church, to harvest the nations.
Church attendance is down, actually. Did you know that? I hadn't even checked it. They say that there's a revival in churches. It's not true. Church attendance is down.
And to bring a worldwide revival.
MAGA went quiet because they're busy jerking off. That could be it. Pumpkin Jewel said, heathen here as well for the goal. Thank you. Thank you, Becky, as well.
So I'm going to ask something. Would you all stand and just, if you're comfortable, stretch your hand towards our president? And even if Reverend Graham, you'd like to lay hands on him, and Pastor Robert, and just come in agreement with me. For 2 Chronicles 7:14 declares, if my people who are called by my name will humble themselves and pray, then I will hear from heaven.
No, not the music.
And forgive their...
They played music. They put on music with it. I swear to God.
Sins and heal their land. So today we humble ourselves and we seek you, Lord Jesus. You declared in Proverbs 14:34 that it said the righteous...
Not a cult. Not a cult. Definitely not a cult, guys.
Righteousness exalts a nation. So we declare righteousness over America. And that every decision that is upon President Trump's shoulders, he will make them in your righteousness. We declare Psalm 32:12 that blessed is the nation whose God is Lord. So today we declare that America is blessed. As President Trump has decided to rededicate this nation on May 17th to you, O Lord.
Yes.
So we invoke your name, your power, your mercy, your grace. We prayed James 1:5 over him, that you will always have the wisdom of God all the days of your life.
Yes,
I
Lord.
declare Psalm 91 over you, that you will be satisfied with long life.
Satisfy
I
me.
declared that everything you touch, you will have the favor of God.
Touch
According
me.
to Luke 2:52, even as Jesus was favored with both God and men, so let it
Yes,
be with President
men
Trump.
and God.
And I pray over
Let the
his
men be with
household
me.
and his family. Not only do we
Yeah, all of
secure
them but
his life
Tiffany.
and his calling and his purpose, but that he will have generational blessing over his family.
That's right. Give me that
For
new hotel in
generation
Miami.
after generation,
Make
will
me the
call
king.
upon the name of the Lord and be blessed.
Yes,
We
Lord.
thank you for the gift that you gave us in our president. And everybody said, Amen.
Thank you, everybody.
MAGA, where are we at? What are we doing? I don't know. What is May 17th? Jen, do you know what is on May 17th? Crystal said they're so corny. Yeah, like that's probably the nicest way you could say. That's probably the nice thing you could say about what they just did right there. That was remarkably weird. He's giving you PTSD from church. They're so weird. Brett said, speaking of spiritual advisors, did you see his former advisor was just released from prison after serving only 6 months for child sexual assault? Yeah, great job. Great job, MAGA. Hey, Jen.
May 17th, Norway's Constitution Day.
That's probably what it is.
Brown v. Board of Education.
That's definitely what it is. That's for sure.
International Day Against Homophobia.
None of these are right. Let's. What did Trump? What was it? May 17th.
I just Googled. Is May 17th a special day, and the significance on that?
All right. Let's see. Corvette Girl says, well, never attend a church again. Trump announced a national prayer event on May 17th at the National Mall in D.C., where Americans are being invited to gather, to pray, to give thanks, and rededicate America. Just one nation under God. Well, has anybody read the Bible? You're not supposed to pray publicly like this. This is the exact opposite. Jesus would have bitch slapped every one of these people here. Like, knock it off. Knock it off. I didn't do any of this. None of this was for this. I did not die for this shit. Stop including me, please. That's so weird. Also, Sophia said, I'm too European for this. Yeah, I did get just like alive. I'm too alive for that. That's just hard to watch. Okay. I'll move on. I'm sorry, everybody. I'm sorry that you had to go through that. But I felt like because I went through it, you needed to go through that as well. Did you get ahead of me, Jen? You got ahead of me on the highlighting. Oh, no, that was from Wednesday. Never mind. I'm sorry.
And I'm not doing that.
I apologize.
Either.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. One more thing on the economy, and then we will get to Iran. This is angel investor Simon Dixon, and we've talked about this repeatedly, but I don't know why he's on InfoWars. I don't know what his politics are, but I agree with what he's saying here. There is virtually no economist right now that isn't loudly sounding the alarm that our entire economy is a rigged Ponzi scheme, and it's clearly being set up for a massive wealth redistribution that will go to the billionaires and leave the rest of us essentially powerless. And somehow we still have MAGA here like, don't tax the billionaires, they're good.
The way this actually works is currently the average interest on the US debt right now, approximately 40 trillion, approaching 40 trillion, is 3.3%. In order to keep the Ponzi scheme alive, America has to have a growth rate above 3.3%. If you don't have a growth...
Can we just point out that all of the MAGA is back now? They just went quiet forever. And now they're coming back to like trash poor people. You bitches. You fucking bitches.
I'm not going to say anything during the cult time.
You fucking cowardly bitches. You watched that whole goddamn thing just to sit around and then wait until we change the subject, and now you're back?
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry. I had to take a quick break.
growth rate above the average cost on the debt, then you enter into the unwinding of the cycle, which would be a recession and a depression. Every time that happens,
that's right, they were jerking it, my bad.
They need to find a new way of printing money in order to try and stimulate growth. One of those is fund the military industrial complex, create war. But the problem is with that is it extracts wealth from the average American person because they end up with the debt and the company ends up with all the profits.
These poor InfoWars guys, one, they don't understand any of this, and two, they're finding out in real time that, oh shit, we're in a rigged economy and we've been propping this shit up. Like, we've been cheerleading this.
And so in order to keep the Ponzi alive, you have to extract all the assets from the average person, excuse me, and the economy becomes a mechanism for rolling over. Now, you have to have growth above the average cost of the debt. What's happening right now? In this global reset, where all energy and 50 different supply chains are being renegotiated, the projected growth rate...
Christy says, empire building for Christ.
...for America...
If somebody ever says they're trying to build an empire, tell them to shut the fuck up.
...is approximately 2% this year and 1.7% next year. At the same time, the 10-year Treasury and the 30-year Treasury is spiking, not as much as the rest of the world, but it's spiking up to dangerous levels, 4.5% and 5%. So now you need to roll over $7 trillion of debt at either 4.5% or 5%.
This is why Trump is begging for the Federal Reserve to lower rates, because they need to just extend it. This is what Trump did this in his first administration. And frankly, they did this. Jerome Powell kind of fucked this up with Biden too. They kept interest rates too low for too long so they could roll over debt. But they've just extended the crisis, and they're going to make like the crash even worse.
The solution to that was what Trump tried to do. He tried to regime change the Federal Reserve and enforce low yield bonds on the short term by effectively dumping them on Americans. So the largest foreign lender to the UK, to the US government right now is Cayman Islands, which is the hedge funds. So what he tried to...
Okay, so let me explain how this is, what's happening here with our current economy. The rich people, the billionaires, those that own hedge funds, those that invest in hedge funds, they got a tax break. So they don't have to pay as much money in taxes, or they've moved their money to the Cayman Islands. So now they're dodging taxes. So you have Americans dodging taxes by putting their money in the Cayman Islands, and then they live in America where they give money to Trump to cut their taxes. And then, because we can't pay our bills, Trump's government then comes to them and says, hey, I know we cut your taxes. I know you're paying less, but we can't pay our bills. Would you mind giving us some money? And they're like, sure, we'll give you some money, but we need 5% interest annually. We'll loan it to you for 10 years, 5% interest annually on that. And the US government says, great, thanks for helping us pay our bills that we can't pay because we cut all your fucking taxes. Imagine today being a conservative and probably hearing for the first time that the people you are cutting taxes for are double dipping on the back end. You know who else is making money off of us? Japan. They hold a ton of our debt. So rich people benefit on both ends. They get their taxes cut, and then they buy up our debt, and then we pay them money. So we cut their taxes and then pay them. Cool. That's so fucking cool. Conservatism is cool. Trickle-down economics is cool. It gives all the money to the rich people. And then when we run out of money, we ask for some of it back, but we pay them interest. Isn't that so cool? That's your ideology. That's what you voted for. Let's cut taxes so that we have to increase lending from these same people. That's so cool. And all you have, the only thing you ever say is, at least I'm not a commie, I'm not a socialist. If we were, we wouldn't have to pay interest to the same people whose taxes we're cutting. We would just have stuff. We would have socialized medicine. We would have universal health care. You would be able to go see a doctor. If you had a child, you would have guaranteed paid time off. And yes, the owner of your company, your large corporation, would have significantly less money, but most of us would have more money. It is the height of stupidity for conservatives to openly dick ride trickle-down economics at their own expense. I don't want good things because if I have good things, then the rich people will have less of the good things that they have. They'll still have very good things. They'll still have far more money than we do, but they won't be able to just go to the moon for fun. And that's what you fight for, because you're afraid of a word that you don't understand, socialism. Again, any of you are welcome to come up here ever. But the first question I'm going to ask you is, what is socialism? And you're going to say, I don't know. Or you're going to say, it means high taxes and everybody gets the same amount of money, because you don't know what it means. It's very easy for them to trick you. But thank you so much for voting for Donald Trump. Thanks for voting him in. I'm very happy to be increasing the debt at this rate and then paying interest to the people who we cut their taxes so that they can finance our debt. This is very cool. Thank you guys so much for doing this for us.
To do is he tried to force interest rates down artificially low, by regime changing the Fed. And then they could be dumped on American people and American pensions, and you could subsidize the demonetization of this program.
What's going to happen because of this action or attempted action?
Well, effectively, that's all gone wrong. So now we enter into an inflationary cycle because this war was meant to be.
Illusion says your shows have been my favorite all week. Thank you. Appreciate that.
Sure. It looks like the IRGC put up a bigger resistance than anyone imagined was possible.
We're going to cover that.
So now you won't get the short-term rates down. The long-term rates are rising. Oil prices are going up. So you've created.
Trump's fucking up so bad. If you saw Jerome Powell, he said, the problem that we have in this country is that our income is our debt is far outpacing our income, and there is no job growth. He said that our job growth is effectively negative. And so they can't lower rates because nobody will buy our debt. So we have to, in order to get other people to pay for our debt right now, the rest of the world is looking at America and going, that's a riskier bet than it was before. So instead of 5%, we're going to need 6%. So now, in order to pay our bills, we have to take on long-term debt at higher rates. And oh, by the way, while we're doing that, we're going to increase spending for this war in Iran that makes no fucking sense. And we have to borrow to get that money at these higher rates. That's so cool. What a good government. What an awesome president. What an awesome administration. Now I get why you guys are so happy about how things are going. This is so cool.
The supply shock and inflation, so you can't get those rates down, and growth is going to go down at the same time.
Listen, Joe Adair, you guys say this every day, that I make money off dividing you. If I am dividing the chat right now, I'm dividing you amongst like people who can do math and people who can't. And that's not my fault. What I'm saying is true. If you're divided by this, read a book. Learn about economics. Do some basic math. If you disagree with what I'm saying right now, and this isn't always the case, you're just wrong. And I'm not going to not say true things so that I don't divide stupid people. I'm just right. I'm just right. There's not an argument against this. Our rates are going up. We're loaning money to rich people because we can't pay our bills. What's your argument against that? Are you saying I'm dividing you because I'm giving you bad information? I don't like when they say bad things, especially when Trump is president. That feels divisive. Check your ego for a second. Am I right or am I wrong? What none of you are doing is pointing out anything I'm saying that's wrong here. You're just kind of upset with me. I don't like it when he gives us bad news.
Time as unemployment. That is an absolute disaster. I do not want to
That's incredible. This is exactly what I'm talking about. There's nothing I can do here. Iman said, I can't do math, but I can recognize blood libel when I hear it. I don't vote for Nazis. I don't know what that means, Iman. I don't even know what side you're on with that. I have no idea what any of that means. I'm sorry.
reiterate how bad things are going to get from here. I'm not one to say doomerism. I've always believed they could keep this Ponzi scheme going for quite some time. But the growth rate is going to be significantly below the average interest rate, which means that the only solution here is to print more money than COVID, more money than long-term capital management, more money than the global financial crisis, and experience the same economy of the 1970s.
I'm North Lord. You can come up here and debate me. Any of you can come up here and debate me. I've asked you to come up here and debate me. I can't debate the chat. It's crazy. Come up here and debate, or just stop crying. Why are all North Lord? You gotta. We're gonna stop this for North Lord. North Lord, why aren't you up here? Why don't you come up and debate? Let's talk about it. I ask every day. You guys are here every day. How come none of you come up and debate? Why do you demand that you only get to debate from a comment section? Come up. We'll stop the whole show for you. Tell me where I'm wrong. This is the whole show used to be debate. That used to be the whole thing, and then you guys just all quit. I'm scared of that. Let me tell you, I don't know what you're thinking, but here's what it feels like. On our end, it feels like you don't want to use your voice and you don't want to get into a position where you don't have an answer. And it's easy in the chat because you can just say things like, oh, I've got work, or oh, I got distracted. When you get stuck, you can just run. That's what it feels like. It's a weird, I can't defend what? Like, come up and debate. One of you, have some courage, please. One time. Have some courage. All right, let's talk about Iran. Israel has completely lost Piers Morgan. That's game over. If Israel lost Piers Morgan, who spent 2 years legitimately defending Israel every time they did something genocidal by saying October 7th, they've lost him now. Here's what Piers Morgan said last night.
I think it's gone way too far what's happened in Gaza. I think the initial defense I made of Israel's right to defend itself, its duty to defend itself and its population, has been just desecrated by the scale of what has gone on there. And the fact they still won't let journalists in to verify what has gone on there says everything to me. It says they know what they've done does not live up to their claim to be the most moral army in the world. They've done stuff so bad, they won't let journalists in to look at it. And so, that's my view about it. All the enriched uranium remains untouched underground in Iran. The capacity to develop that into a nuclear weapon remains exactly as it was before this war was started. So I don't understand how Donald Trump or anybody, frankly, can claim that they have stopped Iran from being able to develop a nuclear weapon when all the...
Mute Ramboni for the rest of this live. Ramboni's now demanding payment. Ramboni, you're here every day. You can come up and debate. But get Ramboni for the rest of live. That wasn't even that funny.
Tools they need remain exactly where they were before it started.
Well, that's the question that's on everybody's mind, right? The only thing that we've ever asked is for this war to go to completion and for this regime to be removed. It was never in our imagination that you would stop at the point that their nuclear capabilities were decapitated. We were told that the end of this war would be when this regime fell, that uncompromising surrender. That's the only ambition that we were ever told. So I don't know what to tell you about this falling short at just, well,
I'm going to bring the others in.
Yeah. Yeah, they're demanding the refund for the money their dads gave me. Maybe. That could be it. I got that one from Illusion. Thank you. So we lost Piers. God, I'm sorry. Do I do it? Yeah, I'm sorry. We have to do it. I don't want to do that. I just want you to know I don't want to do this.
Decisive.
I feel like we have to. We're going to watch the speech. And Sorry. It's a lot of Trump today. I'll make it up to you, I promise. I am sorry. I don't want to watch it either. I'm looking at the rest, but it just like the rest of what I want to cover for the rest of the day, it doesn't make sense if we don't watch it. So we'll speed it up a little bit. It's bad. Everybody get a quick drink break for everybody. It's bad.
Overwhelming victories on the battlefield. Victories like few people have ever seen before. Tonight, Iran's navy is gone. Their air force is in ruins. Their leaders, most of them, terrorist regime.
Like 5 minutes later, they bombed somebody. I don't think that's true.
They led are now dead. Their command and control of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is being decimated as we speak. Their ability to launch missiles and drones is dramatically curtailed, and their weapons factories and rocket launchers are being blown to pieces. Very few of them.
They're doing drone strikes every day. There's no evidence that this is true.
Left. Never in the history of warfare has an enemy suffered such clear and devastating large-scale losses in a matter of weeks. Our enemies are losing in America.
I want to be clear what this speech is. Remember when George Bush did like the mission accomplished speech and he put up the banner? This speech is Trump panicking about the markets and panicking about the fact that I think somebody gave him bad advice. I think he thought that Iran would just quit. If you know the history of Iran, they don't quit. Saddam Hussein thought he could do this to Iran. They thought it would be a week. It was 8 years. Iran will not quit. And Iran stands to benefit from this far more than the United States. So he's doing this now. He's declaring victory and then bouncing. I don't know. We'll see what he does. But this feels like it's market driven to declare victory right now when like anybody with eyes can recognize that this isn't going well. All of our allies have abandoned us. They can't open the Strait of Hormuz. They keep threatening to invade, but everybody knows if they invade, they're going to have tons and tons of casualties. No matter how much they say they've destroyed Iran's capability to attack back, every single day, Iran is attacking back. You can't say that you've destroyed their ability to attack back and then get blown up every day. You have to be pretty dumb to believe what he's saying.
Has been for 5 years under my presidency is winning, and now winning bigger than ever before. Before discussing this current situation, I also want to thank our troops for the masterful job they did in taking the country of Venezuela in a matter of minutes. That hit was quick, lethal, violent, and respected by everyone all over the world. After rebuilding our military during my first term, we have by far the strongest military anywhere in the world. And now we're working along with Venezuela and are, in a true sense, joint venture partners. We're getting along incredibly well in the production and sale of massive amounts of oil and gas, the second largest reserves on Earth after the United States of America.
How's that helping us, though? All of this, it doesn't give us anything.
We're now totally independent of the Middle East, and yet we are there to help. We don't have to be there. We don't need their oil. We don't need anything they have, but we're there to help our allies. Tonight, I want to provide an update on the tremendous progress our warriors have made in Iran and discuss why Operation Epic Fury is necessary for the safety of America and the security of the free world. From the very first day I announced my campaign for president in 2015, I have vowed that I would never allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon.
They didn't have a nuclear weapon, and they, under your leadership, they got much closer than they had been at any point for decades. When Donald Trump stepped into office, there was an agreement in place that kept Iran's nuclear enrichment to 3.6%. And he ripped that up, and immediately Iran started enriching their uranium up to 60%.
This fanatical regime has been chanting,
all right, Sean, come on up, come debate.
Death to America, death to Israel for 47 years. Their proxies were behind the murder of 241 Americans in the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut, the slaughter of hundreds of our service members with roadside bombs. They were involved in the attack on the USS Cole, and they carried out the countless other heinous acts, including the just horrible, bloody atrocities of October 7th in Israel, something that most people have never seen anything like it. This murderous regime also recently killed 45,000 of their own people who were protesting in Iran, 45,000 dead. For these terrorists to have nuclear weapons would be an intolerable threat. The most violent and thuggish regime on earth would be free to carry out their campaigns of terror, coercion, conquest, and mass murder from behind a nuclear shield. I will never let that happen, and neither should any of our past presidents. This situation has been going on for 47 years and should have been handled long before I arrived in office. I did many things during my 2 terms in office to stop the quest for nuclear weapons by Iran first, and perhaps most importantly, I killed General Qasem Soleimani in my first
He can't read. He can't read.
term. He was an evil genius, brilliant person, a horrible human being, however, the father of the roadside bomb, and he lived just horrible what he did. Iran would have been perhaps in far better, stronger position. Had he lived, we would have had probably a different conversation tonight. But you know what? We'd still be winning and winning big.
Nobody knows what any of that means. That was nonsense.
And then very importantly, I terminated Barack Hussein Obama's Iran nuclear deal, a disaster.
Yeah, it was that nuclear deal that kept them at 3.6% enriched uranium. I killed the deal, and then they started massively increasing their weapons stockpile and enriching uranium. Victory. Can we just stop there for a second? MAGA, how the fuck are you squaring this? We were able to inspect their nuclear facilities. They could only enrich uranium up to 3.6%. They could not stockpile enriched uranium. As soon as that deal was ripped up, they started increasing their missile production and their enriched uranium production. And when we bombed them in the summer, we said they have 60% enriched uranium and they're increasing the amount of missiles that they're building. It was a direct response to what Donald Trump did. And this is why we just need you guys to be honest ever. Please learn something. Stop letting this dipshit mislead you. They weren't ramping up missile production. Uranium was enriched to 3.6%. The Iranian nuclear agreement was one of the best deals any president has made in our lifetime. And I'm sorry that it was a black guy. That sucks. I'm sorry. I know that's really hard for you that a black guy is the one that negotiated that deal and he was a Democrat. I know that sucks. But you can't convince me that you're all that fucking stupid. That if somebody made the deal, therefore it is bad, so you will just ignore all the facts going forward. The world was a much safer place. The Iranians were safer. Israel was safer. We were safer. That agreement worked. It's the only time we were able to have any sort of control over Iran, and Iran welcomed it because they don't actually seem to want to go to war. They wouldn't have signed that agreement if they wanted to get into a nuclear war. But they have these genocidal maniacs that want to obliterate them called Israel, who for some reason gets to have missiles and nukes, and nobody can say shit. And so when you remove the protection of the Iranian nuclear agreement, by the way, who tried to push him out of that agreement? Who was it that was behind the scenes feeding Trump full of money to get out of that agreement? Was it the Adelsons? Was it the Zionist donors? Was it Benjamin Netanyahu? Yeah. You know why they didn't like that? Because they always wanted to blow up Iran. They don't like it when Iran's doing the right thing because they want to blow up Iran. It's a crusade against them. It's not about don't let them lie to you and tell you that it's about terrorism. This is a religious war. It doesn't matter what Iran does. Israel is always going to want to blow them off the map. And that's why Israel was pissed at Obama. That's why the Zionists turned on Obama. It was a great deal for you, for me, for America, for Iran, and for the safety of the people in Israel. And it led to a longer period of peace between those countries. Don't let this guy gaslight you into blaming Obama for the problems that he caused. Iran wouldn't have had enriched uranium to 60%. They wouldn't have been increasing their missile production if he didn't rip up that agreement. Don't let him lie to you. Be better.
Obama gave them $1.7 billion in cash, green cash. Took it out of banks from Virginia, D.C., and Maryland, all the cash they had.
No. It was their money. that we stole and we held on to. It was always going to go back to Iran. It was always theirs.
Flew it by airplanes in an attempt to buy their respect and loyalty, but it didn't work. They laughed at our president and went on with their mission to have a nuclear bomb.
No, they didn't. No, they didn't. That's a lie. What he's telling you right now is an absolute, provable lie. There is zero evidence that after getting that money, that Iran started accelerating their uranium enrichment and their weapons stockpiles. And by the way, they're allowed to stockpile weapons. They're allowed to have a military, just like every other country is allowed to have a military. Why in the world are we telling Iran they can't have a military when Israel's military and is aimed right at them all the time? This is pathetic that you guys believe this stuff.
His Iran deal would have led to a colossal arsenal of massive nuclear weapons for Iran, and they would have had them years ago, and they would have used them. It would have been a different world. There would have been no Middle East and no Israel right now, in my opinion, the opinion of a lot of great experts. Had I not
Oh, really? Then how come they didn't do it?
terminated that terrible deal, and I was so honored to do it. I was so proud to do it. It was so bad right from the beginning. Essentially, I did what no other president was willing to do. They made mistakes, and I am correcting them. My first preference was always the path of diplomacy, yet the regime continued their relentless quest for nuclear weapons and rejected every attempt at an agreement.
Show me evidence one time that they were trying to create a nuclear weapon. Tell me where I should go to find this evidence that they were creating a nuclear weapon. They were literally negotiating.
For this reason, in June, I ordered a strike on Iran's key nuclear facilities, an Operation Midnight Hammer. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Those beautiful B-2 bombers performed magnificently. We totally obliterated those nuclear sites. The regime then sought to...
Huh? We obliterated it, but then 6 months later we had to invade them for their nuclear weapons? Got it. Yeah, Ace, it's Iraq has WMDs all over again. They're playing the hits. This is the boy who cried wolf. But conservatives fall for it every time because they're so afraid of Muslims. They're just so afraid of anybody who isn't a white Christian conservative.
Rebuild their nuclear program at a totally different location, making clear they had no intention of abandoning their pursuit of nuclear weapons. They were also
Brother, how would I, Anthony, can you answer this question? How would I show you evidence? Like, if Trump says there's evidence that they had nuclear weapons, how would I prove differently if Trump doesn't show evidence? If you make a claim, then it's your job to back it up. I'm backing up my claim. I said, I've seen no evidence that they had nuclear weapons. Can you show me evidence? I'm asking him. He made a claim. I'm asking him to show evidence of that. And your small brain is like, actually, what shouldn't you show evidence? What do you want me to show evidence of? I showed you evidence that he said it, and I asked for the evidence that it exists. What would you like me to show evidence of? That he said it? Because that's what I'm asking. I'm asking for our government to show evidence that there are nuclear weapons that were being produced.
Rapidly building a vast stockpile of conventional ballistic missiles, and would soon have had missiles that could reach the American homeland, Europe, and virtually any other place on Earth. Iran's strategy was so obvious. They wanted to produce as many missiles as possible, and they did, with the longest range possible, and they had some weapons that nobody believed they had. We just learned that out. We took them out, and we took them all.
Why didn't they use them? If they were so dang, they never used them?
All out so that no one would really dare stop them.
By the way, this is the same argument that people would use against you. So if you use this same logic against these conservatives, like conservatives that have tons of guns, right? This could be the same argument against you. We came and we killed you because you have a lot of guns and you were going to use them. Like, well, I'm allowed to have guns. Yeah, but you were going to use them to hurt people, so we killed you. It's the same exact argument. Iran is allowed to have weapons. There's no law that says Iran can't have a military. They're absolutely allowed to have that. You know why? Because we don't have any agreement with them. It's the same argument. Why do we get to murder people if they have a military? Don't you have weapons to defend yourself? Who's to say they weren't like, if these weapons weren't to defend themselves, then why weren't they attacking people?
and their race for a nuclear bomb, a nuclear weapon like nobody's ever seen before. They were right at the doorstep. For years, everyone has said that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons, but in the end, those are just words if you're not willing to take action when the time comes. As I stated in my announcement of Operation Epic Fury, our objectives are very simple and clear. We are systematically dismantling the regime's ability to threaten America or project power outside of their borders. That means eliminating Iran's Navy, which is now absolutely destroyed, hurting their
I haven't seen any evidence of that either.
Their Air Force and their missile program at levels never seen before, and annihilating their defense industrial base. We've done all of it. Their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, their missiles are just about used up or beaten. Taken together, these actions will cripple Iran military, crush their ability to support terrorist proxies, and deny them the ability to build a nuclear bomb. Our armed forces have been extraordinary. There's never been anything like it militarily. Everyone is talking about it, and tonight I'm pleased to say that...
Ty says, what are our objectives? No, nobody knows what our objectives are. But when you have a base of people who just don't care, then you can, I guess you can just do this.
These core strategic objectives are nearing completion. As we celebrate this progress, we think especially of the 13 American warriors who have laid down their lives in this fight to prevent our children from ever having to face a nuclear Iran. Twice this past month,
let's just say that we blow up all their military. How does this prevent Iran from becoming a nuclear power down the road? It doesn't. The only thing that we had in place that was keeping Iran from nuclear proliferation was the Iranian nuclear agreement, which Trump ripped up.
I've traveled to Dover Air Force Base, and it's been something. I wanted to be with those heroes as they return to American soil, and I was with them and their families, their parents, their wives, their husbands. We salute them, and now we must honor them by completing the mission for which they gave their lives. And every single one of the people, their loved ones said, please, sir, please finish the job, every one of them. And we are going to finish the job, and we're going to finish it very fast. We're getting very close. I want to thank our allies in the Middle East, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Kuwait, and Bahrain. They've been great, and we will not let them get hurt.
They're all pissed right now because they were like, hey, we weren't being bombed, and now we're being bombed. Can we stop being bombed, please? Dolphin said, I took a deep dive into the JCPOA in the pullout. Did you know under Biden they had enriched uranium up to 83, 2%? Biden, wait, hold on. 2%. Biden negotiated and got them to reduce it to 60%. I learned so much. Stay frosty. Oh, after the pullout. Yeah. Sorry, I was like, no, that doesn't make sense. That was after Trump had withdrawn. Okay, yeah, I did know that. I was very confused by what you were saying there.
Or fail in any way, shape, or form. Many Americans have been concerned to see the recent rise in gasoline prices here at home. This short-term increase has been entirely the result of the Iranian regime launching deranged terror attacks against commercial oil tankers in neighboring countries that have nothing to do with the conflict. This is yet more proof that Iran can never be trusted with nuclear weapons. Ross. They will use them, and they will use them quickly. It would lead to decades of extortion, economic pain, and instability worse than we can ever imagine. The United States has never been better prepared.
I mean, this is just fear porn, right? It's just straight up fear porn. I did this. I can't explain why I did this other than you were all going to die. Everybody was going to die. We were all going to die. So I had to do this. They don't have to provide evidence. They just have to scare you. And if we know one thing about conservatives is that what they love more than anything is to be scared. And that's what drives all of them. Just fear. Fear. You have no evidence for any of this. And if you set this standard going forward, then forever the United States government can just murder people with no evidence, and you're always gonna have conservatives going, "No, it's fine, I trust them."
Economically, to confront this threat, you all know that we built the strongest economy in history. We're going through it right now, the strongest in history. In 1 year, we've taken a dead and crippled country. I hate to say that, but we were a dead and crippled country after the last administration and made it the hottest country anywhere in the world by far, with no inflation, record-setting investments coming into the United
States. We have no inflation. We have 3% inflation. Now comes the insane, like, look this shit up.
After the last administration and made it the hottest country anywhere in the world by far with no inflation, record-setting
3% inflation.
Investments coming into the United States over
made up numbers.
$18 trillion.
That's a made up number. You can't find any evidence that exists.
And the highest stock market ever with 50.
Every president has had the highest stock market ever. Every president will have the highest stock market ever. This is like saying I've been president in the latest year. Yeah, like the next president will be president at a later year. Literally every president has the highest stock market in history. Every single one. Stop letting this guy brag about shit. Like this is bragging about, oh, I peed today. Cool, man. Cool. We all pee.
3 all-time record highs in just 1 year. It all positioned us to get rid of a cancer that has long simmered. It's known as the nuclear Iran, and they didn't know what was coming. They've never imagined it. Remember, because of our drill baby drill.
There was no nuclear Iran. They didn't have nuclear weapons.
Program. America has plenty of gas. We have so much gas. Under my leadership, we are #1 producer of oil and gas on the planet without even discussing the millions of barrels that we're getting from Venezuela. Because of the Trump administration's policies, we produce more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. Think of that, Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. And that number will soon be substantially higher than that.
That's a good point, Ty. One of the fathers said that he never said that to Trump to finish the job after his son had died. That's true. Not everybody said that. I don't know if some said that, but at least one person said they didn't.
There's no country like us anywhere in the world, and we're in great shape for the future. The United States imports almost no oil through the Hormuz Strait and won't be taking any in the future. We don't need it. We haven't needed it, and we don't need it. We've beaten and completely decimated Iran. They are decimated, both militarily and economically and every other way. And the countries of the world that do receive oil through the Hormuz Strait must take care of that passage. They must cherish it. They must grab it and cherish it. They can do it easily. We will be helpful, but they should take the lead in protecting the oil that they so desperately depend on. So to those.
This is where it gets crazy. So all of these other countries they were fine. Iran wasn't attacking them. They were able to get their oil through the Strait of Hormuz. And then Trump came in and attacked Iran. And then Iran said, all right, fine, we're closing this. And the people that you're allies with, like, they're not going to be able to get any oil. And Trump's like, all right, guys, come fix it. Come on, what are you doing? Why are you just sitting there? Come fix this. Come get your oil. It's like, what if you just didn't bomb him? The least you could do is include your NATO allies when you're going to do an operation like this. So we don't get their permission. We don't include them. We fuck up their economy, and they're like, and then we say, come fix it. Okay. Yeah. I mean, I know that MAGA, like, you guys like this. I get that. I know we're different here. Like, you like when the United States is just like telling everybody what to do. I like that. I mean, like, you guys are cucky. You like that. You like getting directions. Probably a little submissive. That's fine. We all have our preferences. We don't kink shame here. But like, if I wouldn't go for that. Well, you guys would go for that. Imagine your neighbor just comes, like, your car's parked in the driveway, and they come and they just like rip out your or you're in the garage and they rip out your driveway. There's like an 8-foot hole, and now you can't back out of your garage. And they're like, "Fucking fix it. It's your driveway. You're the one that wants to leave. Fix it." You're like, Why'd you do that? Why'd you blow up my driveway? Why is there an 8-foot hole? Like, you were in danger. Of what? They were going to blow up your driveway, but you blew up my driveway. Yeah, because I had to do it so that they wouldn't do it. What? This is crazy. This is why every other country is like, what the fuck? Like, we're not dealing with this guy. He just went to war for apparently no reason, and now he's telling us to come clean up his mess. This little toddler here. Ace said, Trump dropped drug prices by 1,500%. That's right. I forgot about that. We are now all being paid for our prescription drugs. Damien, thanks for joining the Dollar Train. And Jen wants me to remind you that we got about 45 minutes left. If you can help us knock out that gift goal by the end of the live, that would be greatly appreciated. Inevitably, there's going to be a handful of people now that call me a grifter, living in my mom's basement. I've seen a lot of people say I don't have a child, which is interesting, that I don't have a child or a woman or any of those prospects, and I live in my mom's basement. That's fine. If that helps you feel better, because you don't have responses to what I say, that's fine. We'll just roll with that. This is my mom's basement. I don't have children. I never ever talk to women. I don't have sex. It's a terrible existence, and that's why I have to beg for money on the internet. So there we are.
Those countries that can't get fuel, many of which refuse to get involved in the decapitation.
Austin, this is your last chance to never make that comment again. Okay? You can take shots at me all day long. You can do that. There are certain lines you don't cross, and you keep making that same comment. I'm not cool with that. When you're talking about somebody's relationships and somebody's children, that's too far. You can say literally whatever you want about me. I don't care. I talk shit to all of you guys too. There are lines. That's your last chance, Austin. If I see that comment again, we're done.
Of Iran, we had to do it ourselves. I have a suggestion. Number one, buy oil from the United States of America. We have plenty. We have so much. And number two, build up some delayed courage. Should have done it before. Should have done it with us, as we asked. Go to the strait and just take it. Protect it. Use it for yourselves. Iran has been...
just ban Austin forever. That's fine.
Essentially decimated. The hard part is done, so it should be easy. And in any event, when this conflict is over, the strait will open up naturally. It'll just open up naturally. They're going to want to be able to sell oil because that's all they have to try and rebuild. It will resume the flowing, and the gas prices will rapidly come back down. Stock prices will rapidly go back up. They haven't come down very much, frankly. They came down a little bit, but they've had some very good days over the last couple of days. We've done actually much better than I thought, but we had to take that little journey to Iran to get rid of this horrible threat. With our historic tax cuts, where people are just now talking about receiving larger refunds than...
Mr. Deek, that's a good question. Mr. said, you say they started a war for no reason, but yet these people have chanted death to America for more than 40 years. That's not a reason to start a war. Yeah, if that's good enough for you, fuck, man. Go for it. That's not a reason to start a war. If somebody just says something to you and you murder them, you are a murderer. We can't murder people because they say things about us. Pete Hegseth has chanted, kill all Muslims. I bet you would have a problem with it if Iran assassinated Pete Hegseth. I bet you wouldn't go, well, he's been saying kill all Muslims, so naturally they had to kill him. I'm not saying Iran doesn't like us. I'm not saying Iran hasn't attacked our troops. They have. But they attack our troops in combat zones where we have left our country and invaded other countries and occupy other countries. This is not a defense of Iran. I don't like Iran. I don't think any of us are defending Iran. But like there's no benefit for any of this. You are getting no benefit. This is going to cost you money. This is going to make your cost of goods more expensive. And you are going to benefit absolutely fucking nothing because Iran wasn't coming after us. They weren't going to bomb our country. Their enemy is Israel. You guys have to figure that the fuck out. Iran is afraid of Israel. Iran is arming themselves because of Israel. And they have every right to arm themselves against Israel because Israel keeps attacking them first. If you had weapons pointed at you 24/7, would you not have weapons? You certainly would, especially after the United States pulls out of an agreement that was keeping you safe. There's got to be some nuance here for some of you. You can say, I don't like Iran. You can say, I don't like the Ayatollah. You can say that they persecute their own people. You can say that they treat women horrifically. I would agree with you on every single one of those points. I agree that the Ayatollah should have been removed. I don't think it should have been us. I don't believe in regime change. And it's not because I think like that the Ayatollah deserves to be there, because we've watched for 40 years the repercussions of regime change war. And this is where I just want you guys to go backwards a little bit. Step back. Did it work in Afghanistan? Did it work in Iraq? No, it didn't work. When we invade, we create terrorist cells. We went to Iraq to kill Saddam Hussein, right? It didn't take that long before we captured Saddam Hussein. And then his own people took care of Saddam Hussein. And then we stayed there for like 10 more years. We invaded Afghanistan to get Osama bin Laden, who was in Pakistan. And we were there for 20 years. These don't work. And we're like, oh, now it's a war on terror. We're going to go after Al-Qaeda. And then at some point, Bush is like, we took care of Al-Qaeda. We're done. And we're like, well, who the fuck's that? Is that Al-Qaeda? And they're like, no, that's actually ISIS. Fuck. Who's that? Those are the Houthis. Fuck. Who's that? That's Hamas. Fuck. Who's that? The Islamic Brotherhood. Fuck. And there's all these terrorist groups popping up. Why? Because we go and we bomb their villages. We bomb their family. We kill them. And then they get pissed and they're like, fuck America. America can't just come over here into the Middle East and kill everybody because a Saudi-funded group of people took down the Twin Towers. We're not all responsible for that. Why did my kids have to die? Why did my daughter go to school and die today? Fuck America. And then they get pissed and then they fight and then they attack our troops. It's not about like there's too much duopoly with you guys on everything. It's always like, oh, they're bad because they killed Americans, so we have to kill them. Okay. But if we kill them, then they're going to kill more people. And if we bomb their schools and we bomb their apartment buildings and we bomb their villages, they're going to radicalize and they are going to come together and eventually they're going to get strong enough and they're going to attack Americans. And then where are we at? Then we're like, oh, they attacked Americans. We're going to bomb them. And then we bomb them. And then they get pissed. And then those children grow up, the ones that we don't kill. They grow up and they're like, fuck this, that you killed my family. And then they go and they attack Americans. And they're like, we won't stand for that. If you hit us, we'll hit you harder. And that's why we've been in the Middle East for 30 fucking years and nothing is changing. It's not about right and wrong. It's not about defending the Ayatollah. It's not about defending Iran as a religious theocracy that decimates sometimes its own people. It's not about that. It's about doing things that make the most sense. And the only time we've had a relationship with Iran where we had any sort of control and we had leverage over Iran, like don't attack. Don't attack. Like don't build nukes. We have this agreement. If you break this agreement, you're fucked. We're America. And the problem is like we can't even really blame them now because we broke the agreement. So it's not like we can be like, oh, we're fucking up Iran because they broke the agreement. They didn't. We did. We broke the agreement. This dumb motherfucker just ripped it up because Miriam Adelson or Sheldon Adelson at the time gave him a bunch of money and all these Zionists got in his ears and they're like, oh, you can't trust Iran. You can't trust Barack Hussein Obama. Hussein? Doesn't that sound like a Islamic name? Hussein? Remember Saddam Hussein? And he's like, oh, yeah, I didn't put that together. We better rip up this fucking agreement. And now here we are doing the same shit we've already done. The same shit he told you was wrong. Do you remember the first debates with Trump and him smashing Bush? Ripping Jeb Bush, like, what did your brother do? Your brother got tricked into going into Iraq for weapons of mass destruction. Oh, they're proliferating. If we don't attack them, they will attack us. Everybody admits it's wrong now. He admitted that it was wrong. And now it's the same fucking coded language. It's the same people giving us shitty intel in Israel, and we're doing it again. I'm just asking you, can you stop being so loyal to a man that you forget to think? That you forget the history? It wasn't that long ago. We just fucking ended the war in Afghanistan. We were there since I was a sophomore in high school. I'm 40 years old. We just fucking ended it. It's not like it was decades ago and your grandpappy fought in the war. Almost all of you were alive for this. And the only reason you're supporting it is your love for him or your hatred for the left or whatever it is. This used to be the position of MAGA. This was your argument. You stood on solid ground here. It was one of the arguments you had that was a good fucking argument. I don't like Tulsi Gabbard, but when I first wasn't a Republican, she was the person I liked out of the DNC because everybody was saying the same shit. It was the same shit I'd heard forever. They were all just trying to be Barack Obama and they couldn't do it. Except for Tulsi. And she had a lot of dumb positions, but the one thing she did is she stood on stage every time and she pointed at Hillary Clinton and she's like, you and you, Joe Biden, and you, Tim Kaine, all of you sat around and justified a stupid fucking regime change war in Iraq and Afghanistan, and you've learned nothing. And now you're on stage talking again about killing the Ayatollah and doing regime change. And she got smashed. The Hillary Clinton campaign ran attack ads against her like, she loves Iran. Did you know that? All the shit you're saying about me is what the Hillary Clinton campaign said about Tulsi Gabbard. Oh, she's just an Iranian sympathizer. She loves terrorists.
She doesn't love our country. If Tulsi Gabbard hates it so much, why doesn't she leave? And then you guys put her in your cabinet for that fucking position. That's the only reason she's the director of national intelligence, for one position that she held. The only position that anybody on your side of the aisle gave a single solitary fuck about with Tulsi Gabbard is that she didn't believe in regime change wars. And that alone removed her from the Democratic establishment. It gave a degree of separation between her and Joe Biden. And the Trump administration reached out to her and like, hey, we have the same ideology. We don't do regime change wars. And you guys are all like, ha ha, Tulsi left the Democrats because you were the ones that love war. Ha ha ha. It was a good opportunity for you. You got to club us over the head with that forever. And then as soon as he gets in office, you're like, actually, I love regime change wars. That's bullshit. I don't get, like, you might as well be like wearing I'm with her shirts. Put on your pink pussy hats, whatever it is that you hate about Hillary Clinton. You are Clinton supporters. You are the people that would, like, you're calling everybody baskets full of deplorables now. It's weird to watch you do it. You gotta wake the fuck up. This is just Dick Cheney politics right here. This is, you guys don't like Dick Cheney either, but this is literally Dick Cheney's politics. Anytime anybody in the Middle East doesn't like Israel, we better invade them. And we'll just say that they have weapons of mass destruction.
They ever thought possible. They are getting so much more money than they thought.
Sam said, work's been chaos, so I'll have to catch the show tomorrow. Just wanted to hop on this and say, love y'all, and thanks for all you continue to do. Thanks, Sam. I appreciate that. Cody said for the gift goal. William said April Antifa dues and dues knots. Thank you. Check here real quick. Play this.
That's from the great big beautiful bill. Our economy is strong and improving by the day, and it will soon be roaring back like never before. It will top the levels that it was a month ago.
It was bad a month ago.
Made clear from the beginning of Operation Epic Fury that we will continue until our objectives are fully achieved. Thanks to the progress we've made, I can say tonight that we are on track to complete all of America's military objectives shortly.
Robert says, I used to be like you, but I woke up to the cabal. Oh, you used to be like me, and now you're a neocon, for sure. I used to be a lot like you. I advocated against regime change wars, but I've since learned that Dick Cheney was right. George W. Bush was right. We need to do regime change wars because of the cabal.
We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong. In the meantime, discussions are ongoing. Regime change was not our goal. We never said regime change, but regime change.
They said regime change all the fucking time. This is such revisionist history. They kept talking about regime change.
Change has occurred because of all of their original leaders' death. They're all dead. The new group is less radical and much more reasonable. Yet if during this period of time no deal is made, we have our eyes on key targets. If there is no deal, we are going to hit each and every one of their electric generating plants very hard and probably simultaneously. We have not hit their oil, even though that's the easiest target of all, because it would not give them even a small chance of survival or rebuilding.
It would be a war crime.
But we could hit it, and it would be gone, and there's not a thing they could do about it. They have no anti-aircraft equipment. Their radar is 100% annihilated. We are unstoppable as a military.
None of that is true. None of that is true. They have satellites. This motherfucker's talking about radar like this is like we're storming the beaches of Normandy. Bro, there are satellites in the sky that are documenting your every move. Sorry, your radar's not like, why are you talking about radar right now? If you imagine somebody, we destroyed their radar, and Trump's like, nice, yeah, so they can't do, there's nothing they can do. That's right, Mr. President, there's nothing they can do. There's no such thing as satellites. We didn't just watch a video yesterday of open source information where a Google programmer was able to recreate the initial attacks through publicly available data. For sure, it's the radar. The radar makes it so they can't do anything.
Force. The nuclear sites that we obliterated with the B-2 bombers have been hit so hard that it would take months to get near the nuclear dust, and we have it under intense satellite surveillance and control.
What? Why don't you have it under radar surveillance? Why not? Shouldn't you be using radar, Mr. President, and not satellite technology? Yeah. This is so dumb.
If we see them make a move, even a move for it, we'll hit them with missiles very hard again. We have all the cards, they have none. It's very important that we keep this conflict in perspective. American involvement in World War I lasted 1 year, 7 months, and 5 days. World War II lasted for 3 years, 8 months, and 25 days. The Korean War lasted for 3 years, 1 month, and 2 days.
I thought this was not a war. Why are you comparing wars if this is not a war? What do we do with that?
The Vietnam War lasted for 19 years, 5 months, and 29 days. Iraq went on for 8 years.
John, what would you like to tell me about radar? What I said is, if the radar is destroyed, they still have satellites. What do I need to know about radar before making my claims here? Are you saying that like radar is the only way they can track? I said we have satellites. Did I say something wrong there?
There's 8 months and 28 days. We are in this military operation, so powerful, so brilliant, against one of the most powerful countries for 32 days.
Do I love my country? I don't know. I don't really care that much. Like, I think it's silly. I think that saying I love my country is just, like, I grew up in a cult. I think that that's a way to get people to shut the fuck up. Am I proud of my country right now? No. Am I proud of our foreign policy? No. Do I like living here? Yeah. Do I like the people that I'm around? Yeah. But no, I do, no matter where I live, I don't give a fuck about patriotism. I don't give a fuck about, like, we're number one. That's stupid. I don't care about any of that. I just want people to be kind to each other. I don't want wars to happen. I love people in other countries just as much as I love people here. No, I don't care. It's a piece of land with arbitrary borders. I don't see much difference. I live around a ton of Canadians. I don't think we're that different. There's a lot of people that live around me that come from other countries. I don't really. I mean, I think it's a good place to live. We're really safe. We're really fortunate. We have a ton of resources. We're surrounded by 2 oceans, so that the people that don't like us, it's kind of hard for them to get here. Yeah, there's some really great things about America, but I don't really care about patriotism or I love the country. I care about the people. Some people fucking suck. This guy fucking sucks. I'm not proud of him. I don't love our country when he's president because he just is out murdering people. And just like anybody else that I love in my life, it doesn't matter who. My best friend. If my best friend was out murdering people, I wouldn't love them anymore. I had a close friend that I've told this story before, but when I was on my when I used to be Mormon, I lived in Washington. I was a missionary, and while I was in Washington, this guy who was like the goalkeeper on my soccer team was a soccer coach. And I got back and I found out that he had like sexually assaulted some of the girls on his team. I'm not his friend anymore. I'm not proud that I was his friend. I'm not proud of him. That's a relationship that I abandoned. So I'm more than happy to say that there are times when I really am not proud of our country and other times that I'm not. But no, wholesale saying I love my country, I think that's silly. I don't care about that at all.
And the country has been eviscerated.
No, that's the cool thing. I don't have to leave. I don't have to love it or leave. That's a dumb thing that you dumb motherfuckers say. You're like, if you don't fall in line and do what we say, if you don't feel the same way that I do, then leave. No, shut the fuck up. Just forever shut the fuck up. That's what's beautiful about America. I can live here and say, fuck this country. I can live here, and if I wanted, if I could hate it every day, I could walk down the street every day and saying, this country's a piece of shit, and it doesn't matter. That's kind of what the law is. I don't know why you are obsessed with people like, I think you want them to ignore reality like you do. It's how you live your life. You're like, I just say that I love this country so I don't ever have to criticize any of the bad things. I'm different. For those of us that here that are neurodivergent, our minds just don't work that way. Like, we don't operate in a binary. Things can be good, things can be bad, things can be in the middle. Sometimes you'll like people, sometimes you won't. Sometimes you like things, sometimes you don't. Usually people like us that are neurodivergent are quick to forgive people, quick to move on. But when we're just murdering innocent people for a war that doesn't make any sense, I'm sure as shit not going to throw on my red, white, and blue and be like, I love this country. It's given me so much. The country has given me nothing. Let's be clear about that. The people who have lived in this country, who came before me, have paved a path where there are some liberties that I enjoy. They've also fucked a lot of things up, right? Like I have I know this is going to be shocking to those some of you, but like I have a daughter. My daughter's staring at a future that is far more bleak than the future I looked at. So am I proud of the country that I've been a part of for 40 years? Not really. Have we done a good job preparing our country to be better for our children? Hell no. Did your parents do a good job? No, they didn't. Did your parents? No. We've had like cycle after cycle, generation after generation of people who have made things significantly worse for us in this country, as far as like easily attaining the American dream. Basically, any job you had in the 50s, 60s, and 70s, you could afford to live. Now, like, there's a lot of jobs you can have and you can't afford to live. So, no, I'm not going to stand up and be like, and I'm proud to be an American, where at least I know I'm free. Even that line, at least I know I'm free, fucking almost everybody is free. Like, most countries are free. Most people have freedom. If you look at the free, in fact, let's do this right now. Let's look at the freedom index. If you've ever looked at this, we are far from the most free country. That is another lie that we just tell ourselves. America's the most free, safe, secure country in the world. No, we're not even the most like prosperous. If you take out the billionaires and you take the quality of life from just everyday Americans, we're really not that high up on the list. This is again the Cato Institute, libertarian think tank. Yeah, most are. Like even in we can even talk about Iran. Like you can be a practicing Christian in Iran. What makes us Ginger, you guys tell me, what makes us the most free country? Tell me what makes us the most free country. What do we have that's different than some other countries don't have? You look here at these charts. Here's the human freedom index. And the way that they measure this, if we can go up here, is rule of law, security and safety, movement, religion, association, assembly, civil society, expression, information, regulation, freedom to trade internationally, sound money, legal system, property rights, size of governments, and relationships. We're 15th. What do I think it's like for a practicing Christian in Iran? Probably about what it's like if you were a practicing Muslim in where was that place that Sacha Baron Cohen went? In Kingman, Arizona. It's bad. I'm not claiming that Iran is more free than us, for sure. But I'm just saying, like, we pretend that we're more free. We're 15th. Switzerland's more free. Denmark, New Zealand, Ireland, Luxembourg, Estonia, Finland, Czech Republic, Netherlands, Australia, Iceland, Canada, Sweden, Taiwan. Like, what are we so great at that other countries don't have? Well, Toy said, we have guns. If you can't defend your freedom, you don't have any. Well, weirdly enough, these countries all have strict gun laws and more freedom and less of their kids dying in school shootings. Real freedom is having your kids die at school. If you can't have guns, then you can't have freedom to die at school. We're just not that great. We just have a lot of money and a massive military. That's what we're great at. Yeah, we're not financially free. You can go here, like human freedom and income per capita. So this is on the left here is income per capita. On the right is human freedom. Where's the United States at? We don't even have like we don't have the highest human freedom, and we don't have the most income per capita. Places with more freedom and income per capita: Switzerland, Norway, Ireland, Luxembourg, all have universal health care. All have higher taxes than us. How'd that happen? Human freedom and democracy. So here, human freedom, democracy here. We're not even the highest there. Where's like all these people have a higher human freedom and democracy? Switzerland, Denmark, Ireland, New Zealand. Where's the United States? Let's find us. Where are we? got to be over here somewhere. Right there. This is a good point. We pay for Israelis' health care. We're just not the most free.
And essentially is really no longer a threat. They were the bully of the Middle East, but they're the bully no longer. This is a true investment in your children and your grandchildren's future. The whole world is watching, and they can't leave the power, strength, and brilliance. They just can't believe what they're seeing. They leave it to your imagination, but they can't believe what they're seeing, the brilliance of the United States military. Tonight, every American can look forward to a day when we are finally free from the wickedness of Iranian aggression and the specter of nuclear blackmail. Because of the actions we have taken, we are on the cusp of...
Wait, real quick. I'm going to slow this down because I need to go back for 1 second. Got this part. This was my favorite part.
Of Iranian aggression and the nation, but they can't believe what they're seeing, the brilliance of the United States military. Tonight, every American can look forward to a day when we are finally free from the wickedness of Iranian aggression and the specter of nuclear blackmail.
And the specter of nuclear black belt. We are free from Iranian aggression and nuclear black belt.
Because of the actions we have taken, we are on the cusp of ending Iran's sinister threat to America and the world. And I'll tell you, the world is watching. And when...
No, don't correct him. I'm just telling you what he said. He said Iranian aggression.
We do, when it's all over, the United States will be safer, stronger, more prosperous, and greater than it...
Yeah, probably not. It's not making us more safe in any way. All right, we got about 20 more minutes. Let me see what we're going to look at. And if you guys want to help us knock out that gift goal, I'll update that in a second. Where do I want to go? All right, I want to go to Rubio. I think we can only assume that Rubio was forced to make this speech because, one, everybody knows that this administration has not been clear from the start of what our objectives were. Now, they all keep going out there. Rubio does it. Pete Hegseth does it. They keep going, we've been clear from the start. You have not been clear from the start. You first told us that it was to, like when Trump announced it, he said, we are rescuing the Iranian people. At the same time, we were legitimately deporting people to Iran at that exact same time. Then it was about, it was about regime change. And then it was about destroying their nuclear capabilities. And now it has evolved and we have like somewhat of a story, but they have not been clear. So they put out Ears McGee here to now tell us why we're at war. A month later, finally, the administration is putting out a speech of, let me tell you why we're at war that you should have understood.
Americans are asking, why did the United States have to attack Iran now? Well, let me explain. Iran wants to have nuclear weapons. Of that, there is zero doubt. If what they truly want...
There's zero doubt? If they're going to say this, don't you think at some point they should give us evidence? They keep saying zero doubt, but don't you think there should be some evidence at some point for them to be able to say that?
Which is what they claim is nuclear energy. Well,
no, not they chant death to America, William Hall. They don't say that that's why.
They could have nuclear energy like all the other countries in the world have it. And that is you import the fuel and you build reactors above ground. That's not what Iran has.
You have to build the reactors above ground. Now, this is a weird talking point that this administration has switched to, that you have to build the reactors above ground. You can't have them underground because then we can't bomb them. Why can't you have nuclear reactors underground? Is that a law?
Done. They build their reactors and their facilities deep in mountains, away from the public glare, and they want to enrich that material.
So
the same equipment that they could use to enrich material for energy, they could use to quickly enrich it to weapons grade.
Yeah, I could use a bat to play baseball or a bat to hit you, but you need evidence that I'm going to hit you with that bat in order to hit me. It's silly.
So it is clear that they've been offered every opportunity to have a nuclear program that allows them to have energy, not weapons. And every single time they have turned it down. But why the attack now?
Except for they've never had nuclear weapons. They've only ever had nuclear energy. They agreed in the Iranian nuclear agreement not to have nuclear weapons. they have stated publicly, and it has been confirmed by the Qataris, that the Iranians offered a deal that included never getting a nuclear weapon. They've agreed to this multiple times.
Well, what was Iran trying to do? Iran was trying to build a
Do I think I can trust Iran? I honestly, no. Just in general, no. But I do think Iran has been more honest than our government here. This is a sad state of affairs. I trust Iran more than our government, and I trust them more than the Israeli government. I don't think there are two governments I trust less than ours and Israel. Iran's up there. Like they're one of the most untrustworthy governments on the planet. They've got to be top 5. But they keep saying things that we can verify and are corroborated by other countries. And our government and the Israeli government keep saying things that turn out to not be true. Donald Trump said that Iran bombed their own school. And Iran laughed. They were like, no, you can look this up yourself. And so Americans, not our government, journalists were able to go back and recreate the movements because, again, satellite imagery. And it was journalists who confirmed and forced the Pentagon, the Secretary of Defense, to admit, yeah, that was ours. But Trump lied. He was just like, no, the Iranians stole one of our Tomahawk missiles and bombed their own school. He actually said that. They also said that Iran was unwilling to negotiate to not get a nuclear weapon, but the Qataris, who were in that same negotiation, said no, they agreed to that. So it does seem like our government's lying a lot more than theirs. And then this is where we get to this point of the difference between me and you guys that call yourselves patriots. I'm looking at the facts. I promise you I don't want to support Iran. I promise you I would prefer that our country be honest. I would prefer that we could justify this war. That would be great. I don't like regime change war, but I would prefer to be able to justify something. I would love to be able to be like, all right, well, it's kind of nuanced. Like, I disagree with this, but here's the evidence that the United States government has given us that we were in danger. They have given us no evidence. And we attacked first. Iran didn't attack us, and they didn't attack Israel. So they've given us no evidence that they were a threat, and they attacked first. And then they want me to just be like, it's probably, I'll just trust you. That doesn't work for me. Not our government. Again, I'm 40. You guys can separate presidents by party all you want, but like every president has lied. Like, how many times did Biden like stand up there and be like, we're going to build a strong line against Israel? And then he just like behind closed doors, like, yeah, do whatever the fuck you want. We're not going to stop you from the genocide. Like Trump literally stopped reporting drone strikes his first time. He campaigned on Obama's the drone striker in chief, which he was. And the Obama administration absolutely abused drone strikes. And the United States has been committing war crimes as long as we've been in the Middle East. We fucking love committing war crimes. It might be what we're best at. So no, I don't trust our government. They need to provide evidence. But some of you are like, I don't trust our government, but I trust Trump. And that's where you've landed. And that's honestly the only difference between the two of us with our opinions. Before Trump came in, you were fine. You'd criticize Bush. Certainly you'd criticize Obama. Certainly you would criticize Biden. You would criticize all these people. You'd be like, yeah, they wouldn't tell us the truth. They were hiding the truth. They abused the military. And then Trump comes in, you're like, he would never do that. And it's unpatriotic to even suggest it.
Conventional shield, in essence, have so many missiles, have so many drones that no one could attack them, and they were well on their way. We were on the verge of an Iran that had so many missiles and so many drones that no one could do anything.
Let me go back real quick. I want you to hear this.
So many drones that a conventional shield, in essence, have so many missiles, have so many drones that no one could attack them, and they were.
He admitted it. The Iranians had so many drones and so many missiles that nobody could attack them. Whoops. Whoops. They didn't attack us. They didn't attack Israel. This is scripted. They wrote this down. It's on a teleprompter. He had help with this. He certainly consulted with the Secretary of Defense. He certainly consulted with the executive branch. We had to attack now. They were on the verge of getting so many weapons that nobody could attack them. Let's take it back to that gun analogy. Why do you have so many guns? Why do you need an AR? Why do you need an automatic weapon? Why do you need a semi-automatic weapon? Why do you need a 40 cal? Why do you need a long-range sniper rifle? Because I'm going to protect myself. I'm not going to go attack people. If anybody comes onto my property, I'm going to fuck them up. Yeah, they just said it. They said it out loud. This is the explanation of why we invaded. He just said we attacked them because they were on the verge of having so many weapons that we could not attack them.
Were well on their way. We were on the verge of an Iran that had so many missiles and so many drones that no one could do anything about their nuclear weapons program in the future. That was an intolerable risk. Under no circumstances can a country run by radical Shia clerics with an apocalyptic vision of the future ever possess nuclear weapons.
What about radical Jewish clerics with an apocalyptic view of the future? Is that okay? Because that's what we've got going on in Israel. They're openly talking about the apocalypse. They're openly talking about the end of the world. And they have a nuclear arsenal that they won't tell anybody about. Completely secretive. And they are attacking other countries. For some reason, after we attacked Iran, they started attacking other countries too. They're attacking Lebanon. Yep. This is Islam. This entire war is Islamophobia. If you held these standards across the board and it wasn't simply about your Islamophobia, then we would have attacked Israel. We didn't do that, though.
And under no circumstances can they be allowed to hide and protect that program and their ambitions.
But Israel can. Israel can hide their program from us. They stole our nuclear secrets, built their own nuclear program, and refused to tell us about their nuclear program. Israel can do it. Iran cannot.
Behind a shield of missiles and drones that no one can do anything about. This was our last best chance to eliminate that conventional threat, that conventional shield that they were trying to build.
Thanks, Damien.
And the president made the right decision to wipe it out now. That is the goal of this operation, to destroy their conventional missiles and their drone program so they can't hide behind it and finally have to deal with the world's...
Which terrorist organization is Israel funding? The IDF? The Zionist occupation gangs that are roaming through Palestine now, murdering Palestinians and stealing their land. Benjamin Netanyahu funded Hamas. Israel has funded terrorist groups for as long as there have been problems in the Middle East. What are you talking about? They're on this every time there is a conflict in the Middle East. Israel is funding terrorist groups on one side of it, and usually Iran is funding terrorist groups on the other side of it. Are you unaware of this?
Seriously about never, ever having nuclear weapons.
Yeah, so that's what we came up with. They were going to be able to defend themselves, so we had to murder them. Susan, thank you very much. That was generous. Sunlit Angel said, keep being great. Fuck MAGA. I agree with that. Missed there. Shit, only 10 more minutes. God damn. Update this real fast. Actually, I'll play a video and then I'll update it. 10 minutes. Jen said I should mention the gift goal, but I don't have it updated. So we almost got it knocked out. So I appreciate you guys on that. I know this is not the funnest day to donate. So I appreciate you guys that are donating today. 10, maybe 15 minutes and then I got to go. I want to show a little more of Trump's press conference because again, like this, he's just being transparent now. He's not really capable of being like slick or lying about things now, and he's just openly telling the truth. This is kind of my favorite version of him because it puts MAGA in a really weird position. Historically he's been good at kind of like living in the gray area, but he's not doing that anymore. And he's saying things that you have been consistently against, but now you're forced to side with.
If you didn't have me, if you had some different type of a president, you wouldn't have Israel. I know you're big Israel fans. Frankly, evangelicals and Christians, just Christians, I think they like Israel more than Jewish people like Israel, if you want to know the truth. It's really true. I get so many coming up, but I don't know when that started. It did start not thousands of years ago, I can tell you. It started.
You know how it happened? Loyalty to him. It's just this guy. That's why they love him. That's why the Adelsons love him. That's why Lindsey Graham loves him. It's why Ted Cruz loves him. Because there's so many people in MAGA now that are Christians that I don't think you realize it. Like if I'm on this live, like, let me say something. Let's just watch. Christians, are you listening? I want you to, just the Christians, I want you to respond to this. Jesus Christ was a charlatan. He was a false prophet. He was lying to the people. He was not the Son of God. He was not resurrected. He didn't die for your sins. He was a false prophet, and you've all been duped. How do you feel about that? You can give me your honest answers. That's fine. If it upsets you, that's fine too. I understand I've said something deeply personal towards you and about your faith, and it's okay for you to have like an angry answer for this if you want to have it. Say whatever you want. But Jesus Christ was a phony, a fake prophet, a charlatan. He didn't understand the word of God. He's not God's son. Stop, you said? Fair enough. He was just some dude. He was just tricking people. He's a grifter. Dude, maybe lay off. There you go. Appreciate that. I just tell you you're incorrect. Cool. That is the official position of Judaism. The religion of Judaism believes what I just said. Now, look, I don't believe in God, so I wouldn't even say that Jesus isn't God's son, but I don't even say that. And so we're spending billions, trillions of dollars going to war for a religion who believes that you're all full of shit, that you all follow a false prophet. They believe that we are going to help them usher in the coming of the true Savior, not your bullshit Savior, they say. Not me, not my words. That's them. And Trump has correctly identified this right here. He's like, it's crazy to me. Like, here I am in America. And it seems to me like the biggest defenders of Israel are MAGA Christian Republicans. Why is that? Him. You only like him. You only like it because it's him. Look how differently you respond when I say it and when they say it. Because they do think that about you, just so we're clear. The things I said is exactly what they think about you. And we're fighting a war for them. We have Judeo-Christian values. How do we have shared values with as Christians? How do you have shared values with a religion that thinks the entire basis of your religion is bullshit? A lying charlatan who led people astray and pulled them away from God's true church. But we have Judeo-Christian values. How did they do that? They turned republicanism and MAGA into a religion. They turned it into a cult. And so now you say dumb shit like that. And I just want you to think about those of you who were offended or didn't like what I said or it made you feel icky. Just know that you are fighting a war for people who think what I just said about you. And then you got to ask yourself, why did it bother you when I said it, but it doesn't bother you that they believe that and we're fighting a war for them? You need to think about that. That's why I'm upset that we're going to war. This doesn't make any fucking sense. Even as like a former Christian, this war's not about us. This has nothing to do with us. Speaking as a Christian, sorry. This is nothing. This is not for you. This is radical Muslims versus radical Jews. And they're dragging everybody into their religious war, and somehow they got the Christians to come along. At least the Muslims are far more kind about Jesus. Like, they think Jesus was a prophet. They don't think Jesus was the Son of God, but they think he was a prophet. They don't think he was a con man. Like, you have more in common doctrinally with Muslims than you do with Jews. So if you're gonna justify a religious war, it seems like you would side with the group that is closer to what you believe. Where you got your studies from? These aren't studies, ma'am. It's the Bible. I spent a lot of years being very religious. I've read the Bible many times. I was a missionary. I was a clergy member. Technically, I think technically still, if you needed me to perform a wedding for you, I could. I was an official clergy member. So, all right. Let me check this. We'll finish this real quick.
But the love for Israel is great. You wouldn't have Israel, and you wouldn't have the Middle East either. You would not have. You would have had a nuclear weapon. It started by taking out Soleimani. But
if Trump didn't come around, the Middle East would just all be gone. So we're clear. Natalie says, I hate all of this. I'm not proud to be an American. That's fine. I don't think we should be pressured to say we're proud to be an American. Kimmy said, do you know why political jokes are never funny? Because somehow they always seem to get elected. It's sad, but so true. That's true. Like Trump was it was a joke. It was weird. And then the joke came true. It was like, oh no. That's how fucked up our politics were. We were so frustrated with politics that we twice elected an idiot. And then this to China. Now Trump's trying to leverage against China. Nobody is benefiting more from our disastrous war in Iran than China and Russia, except for possibly, and we'll cover this tomorrow, Iran. If Trump can't get out of this war quickly, Iran, and even if we get out of it now, Iran is staged to now become a world power. We have accelerated Iran's place on the world stage. And I know that sounds crazy probably, so it's fair to disagree with it. We'll cover it tomorrow. But China also going to do remarkably well.
the problem that we have is we really don't need any more.
No, okay, I see what you're saying. Let me check. Nikki said, I'm trying to explain to the commentator that Christians don't support Jews because of their religious views, but because Jesus was a Jew. I'm not talking about you supporting Jews because of their religious views. I'm talking about MAGA Christians specifically supporting a war in Iran. I'm not talking about support of Jewish people. I'm talking about support of a war, a religious war that you are not a part of. And that both of those religions believe your religion is wrong, but the one that you're siding with also thinks that that Jesus was a phony. So I appreciate you saying that. And by the way, don't speak for all Christians. I was a Christian. I supported Jews because I thought they were allowed to have their own religion. I didn't care that Jesus was like ethnically a Jew. I don't care. In fact, as a Christian, I never really gave a shit about somebody's lineage. I think that's one of the weird parts of the Bible. I think lineage is an odd thing to focus on. But yeah, we're talking about the war specifically.
It'd be nice to take it, but we don't need it. And we say to Europe and all these countries that do, China gets 90% of its oil from the Strait of Hormuz, and they should be policing their own strait. We shouldn't be policing.
If they were policing their own strait, that would mean they were at war with us. You're not policing the strait, Trump. Iran is policing the strait. You bombed Iran and they said, fuck that, we're going to tighten regulations on the strait. The United States isn't policing it. Iran is. What's China? China doesn't give a fuck. Iran controls the strait. They can let the ships out. They can still send oil to China. Iran is in control, and they are allies with China. We are at desperation stage now, where Trump is now floating this like, I'm controlling the straits. The fuck you are, dude. The fuck you are. Iran is, and they're letting ships out when they want to, because they can, because they're controlling it. China. Why would China get involved? It makes no sense. Would a Christian say shh and the F word? I don't think you're born again. No, I'm not a Christian anymore. I used to be a Christian. And yes, Christian, like Donald Trump says shit and fuck. Is he not born again? Simon David, I need you to tell me that Donald Trump is not born again, because he says fuck all the time. He swears all the time. I hope we're holding that same standard for me, Simon David. I'm looking forward to your comment. I need you to say, I don't think Trump is born again, because he says shit and fuck. Also, you know where it says you can't say shit or fuck in the Bible? Nowhere. Shitty shit, fuck. You might get to heaven. Daniel Tosh had a great joke about this, saying, like, what if you get to heaven and Jesus is like, welcome to fucking heaven? And you're like, you can swear in here? And he's like, fuck yeah. How do you know you can't swear in heaven? Doesn't say that in the Bible.
It for them. We have been for years, and we're getting ready to get out of there. But they should, all the damages. We have done such a job that they're really a very weak country. They've gone from the bully of the Middle East to essentially a weak country. And I say, you guys, why should we? The problem with the Strait is they can have one terrorist there with a machine gun someplace. And they'll say, oh, it's not totally clean, So let them do it. Let France do it. They get a lot of oil from the Strait.
Okay, this is dumb. You know what the smartest move for France to do is? Call Iran. Hey, we want oil. What will you charge us? And Iran might say, we've got a 10% fee because you're allies with the United States. It might be 20%. And then France goes, let's see, is it going to be more expensive for us to pay that fee, or is it going to be more expensive for us to go down there and risk French lives? And then they'll be like, it's probably better that we just pay the fee. And they could probably counter to Iran, because Iran wants this to happen. They want to sell oil. Iran has all the control right now. This is a great deal for Iran, and nobody's recognizing it yet. But if I'm Canada, if I'm France, if I'm the UK, I don't know if Canada gets any, they probably don't get any oil from them. I shouldn't have said Canada. But if I'm France, I'm just calling Iran. The fuck am I'm not deploying my military. I'm going to call Iran. Hey, we'll pay. Okay, we'll send it. Great, thanks.
Let the European countries do it. Let South Korea, who was not helpful to us, by the way, let South Korea, we only have 45,000 soldiers in harm's way over there right next to a nuclear force. Let South Korea do it.
Jared says, to my brother in the Aaronic priesthood. Good to see you, Jared. There we go. It's a violation of maritime law. What's a violation of maritime law? Are you saying specifically is a violation of maritime law? Isn't that the law that people use? Isn't that the law that sovereign citizens use to explain why they don't need a driver's license? Don't they use maritime law for that? I think that is. All right. Shane says, remind the chat, notice how thin that comb over is. That's true. His comb over is getting thin. All right. I think we got it. Jen, did I get everything? Yeah, I can update the goal.
Yeah.
All right. You want to do some announcements real quick while I do some math? She doesn't want to do it. Okay. I got it, Jen. All right, guys. We'll be back tomorrow morning and every weekday morning. Oh, no, I got it. You're good. 9:30 a.m. To 1 Pacific Standard Time right here on YouTube and Twitch. We'll be back on TikTok on the 3rd, well, probably the 4th. Hopefully. Reminder, next week, Thursday and Friday, there will be no show. Not sure on Wednesday yet. I'll update you as soon as I know. Monday night, we have movie night, and I will pick the show today. Jen, will you remind me to pick a show before the live tomorrow, and we'll announce that tomorrow what our movie night will be. You're going to need to be a paid member to join us in the Discord for the movie night. You can be a paid member on YouTube, Twitch, or TikTok. I think those memberships start at like $5. Any level will get you in, and you can watch a movie with us on not Spaceballs. Shut up. It's not Spaceballs. Maybe we'll pick something fun. We're going to do something fun this Monday, not political. So you can watch that with us, hang out. People get loaded. The chat's really fun. And I hope to see you guys there. Did I miss anything, Jen?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. See you guys tomorrow morning. Until I see you, take care of yourselves. Go outside and touch grass if you can't touch grass. Smoke grass if you can't smoke grass. Best of luck to you. I don't know how you're going to make it through, but you got this. Be nice to your friends. Be nice to your family. Be nice to all those that are around you. You can even be nice to MAGA, but it's okay to be nice while saying fuck Donald Trump. Remember that. And to all of our Christians here, you were good sports today. I know I was a little hard on you, and I'm sorry about that. I'm deeply apologetic. But I'll see you tomorrow morning, bright and early. Take care of yourselves. Stay cute and cool, and have a great summer.